What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 2MP Chapter 26 New Puppet, Crocodile, New Book for Collection. Just when the whole situation of the Third Ninja World War was obviously changed because of what happened to Sand Shinobi Village. As the direct party of the matter, Yi Lin, who is full of hatred, of course also knows the current situation in the ninja world. Yi Lin was naturally quite shocked by this situation. And after the shock, his remaining emotions were only crying and laughing. God is pitiful to see that his strength is not strong enough to really dare to wrestle with the other 5 of the 5 great ninja village. The attack on Sand Shinobi was successful, and that was when Luo Sha took most of the elite to the front. And that's when Sand Shinobi doesn't have Jinchuriki yet. So seeing that his actions frightened the other ninja villages into such a state, Yi Lin was naturally dumbfounded. But obviously, he really doesn't have time to pay attention to these things now. Because it's harvest season again. While whispering, Yi Lin is also looking at the 2 puppets in front of him, and then looking at the bull that kept roaring. "Let me out." Not far away, Yi Lin laughed so happily. This time, his harvest is really too great. The first is points. The ninjas that Sand Shinobi kept at Jisun no Ji Temple were all excellent ninjas without exception, and after they were almost wiped out by him, they also provided the most points in history. A full 4,500 points, plus the subsequent points obtained from the altar, is 5,500 points. In addition to the 2,000 points left by Yi Lin before, this allowed him to rush to more than 7,000 points in such a short period of time. And more importantly, he also got a windfall. Originally, it was just to capture the tailed beast, but I didn't expect to buy one get 2 free. Lord Second K's Cage also left him 2 corpse puppets of cage-level powerhouses as a surprise. System: start extracting the puppet materials on these 2 puppets. At this time, Yi Lin was also planning to extract the puppet material from these 2 puppets. Open black lens bracket. Start extracting puppet material. Close black lens bracket. As Yi Lin's words fell, the 2 puppets in front of him slowly floated up. Then, 2 balls of light that Yi Lin were very familiar with appeared on their bodies. Advertisement: congratulations to host, get the S-rank puppet material, Sand Heart. This is the material extracted from Second K's Cage. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you have obtained the S-rank puppet material, Fighting Enhancement, close black lens bracket. This is the material extracted from First K's Cage. After seeing these 2 materials, Yi Lin was not too surprised. The Heart of Sand obviously corresponds to Second K's Cage's identity as the founder of the sand control technique, and Yi Lin has also seen the other party's ability to manipulate sand. As for the strengthening of martial arts, it is needless to say that First K's Cage, the Taijutsu ninja, is the strongest Taijutsu ninja Yi Lin has ever seen so far. This kind of ninja can be born, it must have experienced 1,000 battles. Sure enough, it's 2 S-class materials. After confirming that it was indeed 2 S-level materials, Yi Lin also chuckled. System: I will use these 2 puppet materials as auxiliary materials to extract puppets. Host uses the S-level material, Sand Heart, for auxiliary extraction. The material has been consumed, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Host has 7,600 points remaining, 500 points have been consumed, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Extracting in progress. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, get the S-class puppet, Crocodile. As the extraction of the system ended, a new puppet also appeared in front of Yi Lin. It was a tall man with a ferocious scar on his face, a golden hook on his left hand, and a very prominent black coat. It's really him. After seeing this puppet, Yi Lin secretly said that it was true. In fact, he had already guessed the result. After all, although there are all kinds of powerhouses in the heavens and the world, but it happens to be S-rank and he can't think of too many things related to sand. Open black lens bracket. Crocodile, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. S-class puppet, close black lens bracket. Controlling proficiency, 0%. Open black lens bracket. Pirate Series 7 Warlords of the Sea. Sand Crocodile, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Skill: Logia Devil Fruit. Sand Fruit, close black lens bracket. Special skill: Fruit Awakening, 100% operation proficiency can be unlocked. Advertisement: defect: Fear of Seawater, puppet charge, 100%. Puppet recovery. Available. After seeing Crocodile's introduction, Yi Lin had only 2 thoughts in his mind. The first thought: this time he also has genuine goods. He had forcibly assigned the title of 7 Warlords of the Sea to Enel before, but this time he really got the puppet of 7 Warlords of the Sea, right? Second thought: this Crocodile's puppet panel was carved out of the same mold as Enel. Except that Enel has a special skill Heartnet, and Crocodile does not. All the remaining attributes are very similar. But the only thing that makes Yi Lin feel a little bit of a headache is that the number of puppet defect modification devices he currently has is gone. In other words, Crocodile was afraid of the flaws in the sea that he couldn't fix for the time being. Go back and find a way to get a puppet transformation device. He was thinking so in his heart, but Yi Lin didn't think about it for too long. Because the extraction of the system continues. The host uses the S-level material, Fighting Enhancement, for auxiliary extraction, and the material has been consumed. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Host has 7,100 points remaining. 500 points have been consumed. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Extracting in progress. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host. Get the S rank puppet, Zaraki Kenpachi. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host. Successfully activated the special achievement, Captain Assemble. A series of sounds made Yi Lin unable to react for a while. However, he subconsciously turned his attention to a special achievement that had rarely appeared before. Open black lens bracket. Captain Assembly. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Special achievement. Close black lens bracket. Stage 1. Acquire 2, Go A 13 Feet Series Captain Puppets, 2 halves, completed. Achievement Reward. Designated Puppet Proficiency Promotion Card. Stage 2. Obtain 4, Go A 13 Feet Series Captain Puppets, 2 quarters. Achievement Reward. Puppet Realm, Jingling Court, Asterisk. Chapter 27 Zaraki Kenpachi, Energy Matters, New Book for Collection. F*K. At the moment of seeing that special achievement, the only thing Yi Lin could express his attitude was this classic national scolding. To be honest, he knows that his system is very powerful and that the puppets in the system are all-encompassing. But he could never have imagined that the props inside the system could even include the Jingling. What is that in Jingling? The place where the Shinigami live and guard. It is really similar to a small world. Even if Yi Lin mentioned it when he used my wife Shani's puppet to fool Namikaze Minato before, it was just bragging. But now, he actually has a chance to acquire this thing. The special achievements of this system are really mysterious. Later, Yi Lin also thought of this question. If it wasn't for the chance that he picked up the puppet of the second Go A 13 captain this time, then he really didn't know how long it would take him to activate this achievement. However, Yi Lin suddenly thought of a question. The 2 special achievements he has activated so far, the first of which is the achievement of Black Death Mo's Perfect Ghost. Undoubtedly, this achievement is for the puppet itself. But the second, Captain's Gathering, now activated, is for the puppet series. It appears to be 2 different types of achievements. So Yi Lin's mind immediately became alive. The captain of Go A 13 has achievements, and so on. If I draw the 7 warlords of the sea puppets, or the 12 ghost moon puppets, will there be special achievements that will also be activated? Can't I really reproduce Grand Line and Fuji Kayama in this world? This feels like suddenly knowing that there are hidden SSR cards in the card pool. Yi Lin is now thinking about the Krypton Gold Lottery. No, don't be impulsive. From the current situation, every captain is a puppet above the S rank. You still have to use materials, otherwise the chance of getting an S-level puppet is too low. However, he can be considered a person who has seen the world now, so he quickly withdraws his excitement and imagination for the time being. Instead, he refocused his attention on the props he had acquired in the newly drawn Zaraki Kenpachi puppet. Advertisement, Designated Puppet Proficiency Upgrade Card. Open black lens bracket. Special props. Close black lens bracket. The manipulation proficiency of the designated puppet can be increased by 100%. It's really concise. Looking at the new props obtained through the achievements of the first stage, Yi Lin sighed. This effect is really simple enough, and enough pervert. It is needless to say how natural the puppet manipulation proficiency is by directly increasing the puppet manipulation proficiency. It's just that he hasn't decided which puppet to use this thing on. Then, he also turned his attention to the newly drawn Zaraki Kenpachi puppet. The appearance of this new puppet is a ferocious and extremely tall one-eyed man with a blindfold. There is a scar on his face, and countless bells are tied to his hair that stands like a hedgehog. The zanpakuto around his waist has no scabbard, but is wrapped in bandages. In addition, like the Byakuya Kuchiki puppet, Zaraki Kenpachi is also wearing Go A 13's signature haori, which has a jagged shoulder and the word 11 written on the back. Open black lens bracket. Zaraki Kenpachi. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. S-class puppet. Close black lens bracket. Controlling proficiency, 0%. Open black lens bracket. Shinigami series puppet. Go A 13 captain of the 11th division. Close black lens bracket. Skills. White hits, slash, shunpo, ryatsu liberation, ryatsu physical defense, ryatsu sword press. Special skills. Kendo, 30% manipulation proficiency unlocked. Shikai Nozarashi, 50% manipulation proficiency unlocked. Bankai Nozarashi, 100% manipulation proficiency unlocked. Puppet charge. 100%, it can be automatically recovered after consumption, but it takes time. Puppet recycling. Available, recycle puppet regardless of distance. There is a 24-hour CD. Sure enough, as expected. After carefully examining the data of the Zaraki Kenpachi puppet, Yi Lin also sighed softly. Compared to Byakuya Kuchiki, Zaraki Kenpachi is also the captain. Advertisement. But Yi Lin knew very well that this captain was very different from Byakuya Kuchiki. Byakuya Kuchiki is a nobleman in the original. His fighting style is elegant and well-rounded, calm and free. But Zaraki Kenpachi is different. He's a beast. A beast born only to fight, to live to fight. As long as he encounters a powerful enemy, even if he chases to the ends of the earth, he will have to fight with each other before giving up. Killing people or being hacked is fun, isn't it? In order to enjoy the battle, he will even deliberately suppress his Ryotsu to fight the enemy. Otherwise, he was born too powerful Ryotsu, completely nullifying the enemy's attack. His fighting style is straightforward brutalism, and he is delighted by the bloody fights. On the contrary, it is the liberation of Zanpakuto, which is generally valued by the Shinigami, and he is extremely bad at it. It is for this reason that Zaraki Kenpachi's Shikai is actually counted as a special skill and requires 50% operating proficiency to unlock. But even so, Yi Lin can basically make a judgment. The puppet I have now, in actual combat one-on-one. Zaraki Kenpachi should be one of the strongest puppets. After reaching this conclusion, Yi Lin's mentality has also changed since then. To put it bluntly, that is, he has confidence in his heart. After the benefits given by San Shinobi this time, the number of S-rank puppets in his hand has jumped to as many as 5. 5 puppets correspond to 5 cage-level powerhouses. And this kind of combat power is unmatched in the ninja world except for the 5 major ninja villages. Even among the 5 major ninja villages, the weaker San Shinobi village may not be able to make up 5 cage-level powerhouses. It can be said that the power Yi Lin actually has now is enough for him to become the real mastermind behind the ninja world. And the only limitation is that it is limited by the problem of puppet energy. None of his puppets can continue to fight for too long. But, the question of energy. Whispering to himself, Yi Lin turned his attention to his last trophy this time, the bowl that sealed the one-tail Shuhei. It doesn't seem like it can't be solved. Chapter 28 is the 3 ninja villages negotiating peace. New book for collection. Tailed beasts are called monsters that destroy everything, war machines, and deterrent combat power in the ninja world. It itself is the carrier of chakra energy, and as long as it exists, it will continuously generate chakra. But for Yi Lin, he personally prefers to call the tailed beast a mobile battery. System, the external energy you mentioned earlier, is it okay to use this thing? Little devil. Who are you talking to? Hearing Yi Lin's voice, Shuhei in the bowl was still roaring in a manic state. Determining. This creature is an energy creature and can be used as an external energy source for puppets. And the system responded quickly. How long can the battle of using him as an energy source to maintain the S-rank puppet last? A S-rank puppet, high-intensity battles can last for 7 days. 2 S-rank puppets, high-intensity battles can last for 5 days. 3 S-rank puppets, high-intensity battles can last for 2 days. 4 S-rank puppets, high-intensity battles can last for half a day. Tisk tisk. So Yi Lin couldn't help but sigh. This is a tailed beast. Even though it is only a one-tail, it is a tailed beast after all. Take a look at Prince Naruto at the end of the plot, who supplies chakra to the ninja coalition in the entire ninja world at the same time and maintains a high-intensity battle. You can know how much chakra the tailed beast contains. But even with all the chakra of the tailed beast, it can only maintain the energy required by the 4 S-rank puppets to fight for half a day. Yi Lin also had a solid understanding of the power consumption of the puppet. However, it is enough. Although the power consumption of the puppet was a bit larger than expected, Yi Lin quickly accepted it. The reason is very simple, because it is so much better than before. What's more, it was difficult for him to imagine that 4 S-rank puppets could fight an enemy that could not be solved in one day. If you encounter that kind of guy, just use the remote recovery to take the puppet back and you're done. With this idea in mind, Yi Lin naturally wouldn't hesitate. Advertisement. System. I will use this tailed beast as a backup energy source for the puppet. To convert this target into puppet backup energy, it will cost 3,000 points. Are you sure? Close black lens bracket. Sure. Although the price was almost equal to the price of 6 draws, Yi Lin nodded directly. As he nodded, an inexplicable force instantly enveloped the bowl that sealed one tail. UB asterisk 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 D. You want? Ah, what did you do? Inside the bowl, the whole body was like a raccoon dog, and Shuhei, who was covered with a curse mark, also let out a huge and painful roar as if he felt something. But under the power of the system, his roar soon faded away and then fell silent. At the same time, Yi Lin also seemed to feel that the bowl in front of him had some kind of subtle connection with him. He seemed to be able to clearly feel the huge chakra in one-tail Shuhei's body. A wave of energy passed into his body through invisible channels, and then poured into the puppet through his connection with the puppets. If Shuhei is a mobile power supply, isn't my puppet master a data cable? Yi Lin muttered silently, but he was extremely satisfied with the effect in his heart. And then, Yi Lin started a routine lottery. There are still 3,600 points left, and continue to reserve 2,000 points for backup. The rest. Is it only enough to draw 3 times? Yi Lin was also a little disappointed to see that all the remaining points were thrown away from the reserved 2,000 points and only enough to draw 3 times. In his opinion, the probability of drawing something good in just 3 draws is a bit low, and there is a high probability of 3D level items. And what actually happened did not exceed his expectations. He did draw 3D rank items. However, one of the props caught Yi Lin's attention. Puppet recycling custom template, D-level special items. Allow the host to customize the appearance of the channel when recycling puppets. Oh, so Yi Lin had a rare interest. The D-level items in the system are basically waste. at least in the system's judgment. Advertisement and the value of this prop itself is basically the same as that of waste. Customize the appearance of the channel when you recycle the puppet, which actually doesn't help the battle at all, it's just a dazzling skin if you die. But for Yi Lin, this thing still has a lot of use. Because when he reclaimed the puppet remotely before, a space channel appeared behind the puppet to transmit it back. But the key is that this skill has been seen by Rock Shinobi before Yi Lin used the Byakuya Kuchiki puppet for the first time. So all along, when Yi Lin used the Enel puppet and the Black Death Mo puppet, he didn't dare to use the remote recycling in an open and honest way. He often chooses to make Enel elemental and then recycle it. As for Black Death Mo, he simply doesn't send it out. As for the reason, he was afraid that people would see the relationship between the puppets. But now with this special prop, this problem is naturally solved. And, if used properly, this thing might come in handy. Yi Lin already had a rather bold idea in his heart. But it was when he was thinking, clang, clang, clang. The bell hanging not far away rang, and it rang 3 times in a row. As a result, Yi Lin's expression suddenly became a little serious. He has been living in the secret room of this underground facility, and only Wu Wei and his son Wu Go know of his existence. According to the agreement, when they ring the bell 3 times, it means that there is very important news to report. Not long after, Wu Wei also came to the secret room. Sir, the situation in the ninja world has changed drastically. After seeing Yi Lin, Wu Wei also said straight to the point what he wanted to report. After hearing the news of Wu Wei, Yi Lin was also stunned on the spot. What did you say? Are they going to make peace? That's right, the news brought by Wu Wei is simply a sentence. Cloud Shinobi, Rock Shinobi and Konoha are going to make peace. Chapter 29 Mutated Plot. Discuss and what happened, new book for collection. Reconciliation. Yes, my lord. In the face of Yi Lin's unbelievable question, Wu Wei also nodded. Then, he explained the specific situation in detail again. After hearing the specific situation, Yi Lin knew the reason. In the final analysis, the reason for the 3 major ninja villages is an extension of what happened to Sand Shinobi before. Since Sand Shinobi's tailed beast was taken away by the 7 warlords of the sea, the war was much smoother. Sand Shinobi is in total chaos due to the tailed beast being taken away, and 4th Case-Cage Luosha has returned to the village. This almost announced Sand Shinobi's early withdrawal from the 3rd Ninja War. The other 3 ninja villages, which were close to the white-hot battle, also cooled down in an instant, and they each protected their Jinchuriki in the village well, for fear that they would follow Sand Shinobi's footsteps. In particular, the 2 consecutive actions of the 7 warlords of the sea brought a subtle change to the death knot that the 3 ninja villages couldn't get around, that is, 3rd Raikage. Because of the existence of 7 warlords of the sea, it undoubtedly shows that the Gode 13 inches mentioned by Rock Shinobi before also has the possibility. Rock Shinobi insisted that they didn't kill 3rd Raikage, but Gode 13. Cloud Shinobi is also undersupplied due to the long-term battle of 1-on-2. As for Konoha, a lot of troops have been mobilized to Sand Shinobi's front before, and now they agree to negotiate peace. Wu Wei's words left Yi Lin speechless. He didn't expect that his actions actually caused such a huge butterfly effect. And this butterfly effect is undoubtedly not a good thing for Yi Lin. Because once the 3 major ninja villages negotiate peace, it means the 3rd Ninja War is over. Thinking of this, Yi Lin was also stunned. To put it bluntly, the 3rd Ninja War is actually the key fuse of the entire Hokage plot. This war directly led to the pattern of the ninja world in the next few decades, and almost all the characters in the official plot were more or less affected by this war. According to the plot that Yi Lin originally knew, this battle will continue for at least a year. Moreover, there will be many key battles in the middle. For example, Obito was seriously injured in the Battle of Kanabi Bridge, and the death of Nohara Rin led to Obito Blacken's Mist and Three Tails incident, and the Battle of Kikuyama, etc. But now, there is no doubt that these scenarios will not happen. This huge change in the plot also made many of Yi Lin's original plans suddenly become empty talk. Advertisement. But soon, Yi Lin calmed down, because in fact, this is what he had already guessed. With his appearance in the ninja world, it was only a matter of time before the plot changed dramatically, and he was already mentally prepared. So, he quickly weighed the pros and cons and noticed a key thing. No. Not right, he murmured in a low voice. While talking to himself, Yi Lin's eyes were surprisingly bright. Later, he also turned to look at Wu Wei. Where are these 3 ninja villages negotiating peace? A week later, the 3 shadows will bring their elite ninjas to hold a meeting of the 3 shadows in the Mountain of the Elements, in the country of Taki to discuss the details of the peace. The news of the reconciliation between the 3 major ninja villages was originally passed on to the ninja world, and Wu Wei, the current leader of the Grass Ninja Village, naturally knew the details. How far is it from Kanabi Bridge there? God no Pichao. The distance is not too far. Although Wu Wei didn't know why Yi Lin suddenly mentioned Shenwubi Bridge, he quickly answered. After hearing Wu Wei's answer, Yi Lin's heart became more and more certain of his conjecture. The reason he asked this was because he knew that somewhere around Kanabi Bridge, there was an ambitious guy hiding. Even if nothing else happens, the guy will definitely do it. Because he has no time. A week later, Taki no country. As a small country in the middle of the three major kingdoms of thunder, fire, and earth, the country of Taki itself certainly has no autonomy. Its domestic ninja village, Taki Ninja Village, is also very weak, so it has almost always been a supporting role in the war. Occasionally, a few famous ninjas will often defect from the ninja village after they are finished. It is precisely because of its weakness that this country has become the best place for great powers to negotiate. For example, at this time, Ichinoyama in the territory of Taki no country. In this mountain range, which itself is not too big, the ninjas of the three major ninja villages are stationed at this time. Since the war was still going on not long ago, most of the ninjas in the three major ninja villages were obviously still quite wary of each other at this time. When patrolling, they are also extremely cautious. But among ninjas, there are always a small number of ninjas that are different. Obito, Minato-sensei told you not to run around. Advertisement for example, in the camp where Konoha was stationed at this time, a ninja girl who looked about 12 or 13 years old was shouting in a low voice. In front of him, a boy wearing sunshade glasses and sportswear was crawling on the fence of the camp, looking at the girl happily at this time. The war is over, Lin, don't worry, aren't you curious about that place? That's the Three Lord Shadows. While speaking, Obito pouted towards a large tent in the distance. At this time, the three shadows and the most elite group of ninjas in the village were in the tent to discuss events related to the future of the ninja world. As a hot-blooded young man who had just become Chunin and was actually on the battlefield for the first time, Obito naturally yearned for this kind of thing. Especially their teacher Namikaze Minato, who was in the tent at this time. Curiosity returns to curiosity, but we are ninjas and must obey the village's arrangements. Lin's eyes lit up after hearing the words, but then she also widened her eyes at Obito. Hey, Rin, why are you talking like that guy Kakashi? After hearing Lin's words, Obito naturally couldn't refute, so he could only mumble. What does it have to do with Kakashi? After hearing these words, Lin blushed. Obito, all ninjas know this kind of thing, right? Cut, come down and come down. After seeing Lin's expression, Obito also cut again, and just then was about to jump off the wall. Although he was indeed extremely curious, he didn't want to lose to his enemy in the girl's heart. Although in reality, his self-confessed nemesis is already Konoha's premier genius, Jonin. But just as he jumps up to jump off, buzz, silently, a strange thing resembling a pitcher plant suddenly swelled up on the ground. And in that thing, a dark figure is holding out his hand. Buzz. His hand seemed to be made of plasticine and instantly turned into countless pitch-black tentacles, grabbing Obito and wrapping it up. Then, the dark man actually wanted to reintegrate into the soil and disappear after a while. P.S. The protagonist will definitely become stronger, or who is the king of ghosts, Ellen, right? Book friends, take your time, don't be in a hurry, the power should be spread slowly, and the bee should be installed slowly. Chapter 30. The Three Great Ninja Villages of Chaos, Uchiha Madara. New book for collection. Obito, at this moment, Lin Fang just reacted from the sudden change and immediately exclaimed. But with her strength, it was obviously too late to stop it. Right at this moment, Civ, a small figure struck Jonin at a speed that shocked Jonin in an instant, and the ninja sword in his hand flashed against the moonlight in the dark night. With white hair and a mask, although he looks similar in age to Lin and Obito, it is clear that his strength is far beyond his age. Hitaki-style swordsmanship broken tooth. The ninja slashed towards the dark figure, and Kakashi was very confident about his strike. He didn't say idiots like, let him go, but used a ninja way to save his friends. But, clang! When Kakashi confidently slashed at the pitcher-like thing, he found that the extremely fragile Nepenthes was unscathed. Hitaki Kakashi. And the black figure glanced at Kakashi, obviously knowing him. It's a pity. The words fell, and the figure of the other party was completely integrated into the soil on the ground, and there was no trace. At the same time, in the central tent, HMPH, Old Man Inomu. This sincerity is not enough. You must find my father's body. The discussion between the three shadows continues. At this time, 3rd Tsuchikage Onogi was having a heated discussion with 4th Raikage. The 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiizaki watched from the sidelines. He lightly smashed the pipe on his mouth, his eyes deep and distant. Among the three shadows, his understanding of this peace negotiation may be the most different. Advertisement Tsuchikage Onogi was willing to negotiate because he knew that this was the only chance he had for a peaceful settlement with Cloud Shinobi. After all, they actually killed 3rd Raikage. If there is no peaceful resolution this time, the war will inevitably end with a winner or loser. The same is true for Cloud Shinobi. The main reason for their negotiation is that it is really difficult to fight 1 against 2, and they are already difficult to beat. But Sarutobi Hiizaki is different. Konoha's own role in 3rd Raikage's death doesn't matter, and won't be Cloud Shinobi's first target of hatred. Moreover, Konoha's strength did not suffer too many losses in the war. Sand Shinobi, who was originally hostile to Konoha, was taken away from the war before the war even started. So Konoha doesn't actually need to negotiate, and can wait until Cloud Shinobi and Rock Shinobi both consume each other's stamina and come out as fishermen. But Sarutobi Hiizaki came anyway, and the reason is not because of the other ninja villages, but because of the information he got from Namikaze Minato before. Go Day 13, 7 warlords of the sea, Ghost Killing Squad, Ghost Clan. These powerful beings hidden in the shadows make Sarutobi Hiizaki's throat. That's why he couldn't wait to end the war, and then he could draw out his hands to play against these hidden guys. And now, his goal has basically been achieved. The three parties have basically reached a consensus on agreeing to end the war, and the rest is to wrestle and compensate each other. I hope that during this time, those guys don't do anything terrible. Looking at Tsuchikage and Reikage who were still arguing in front of him, Sarutobi Hiizaki thought to himself, knowing that the peace talks would be over in a few days. Not just Sarutobi Hiizaki, but Namikaze Minato, who was standing beside him, had the same thoughts. But it was also at this moment that a Konoha shinobi who was guarding the door suddenly walked into the camp. Lord Hokage. A mysterious man broke into our camp just now and kidnapped a ninja named Uchiha Obito. And what he said instantly made the atmosphere of the scene stagnant. What did you say? As a result, the three shadows and all the ninjas on the scene were also in an uproar. Advertisement, Obito? Especially Namikaze Minato's complexion changed drastically. The Uchiha family? And Sarutobi Hiizaki immediately stood up with a sullen face, and glanced at the surrounding rock shinobi and cloud shinobi. For the first time, he wondered if some people in the two shinobi villages had ideas about the Sharingan of the Uchiha family. But then, his suspicion was denied by himself, because as far as he knew, Obito did not open Sharingan. Also, Cloud Shinobi and Rock Shinobi should not have chosen to do it at such a time, even if they really wanted to. When negotiating peace, if it is discovered, then it will inevitably cause a rebound from the remaining two parties. So, a whole new idea came to Sarutobi Hiizaki's mind immediately. Could it be that those guys did it again? As soon as he thought of this, Sarutobi Hiizaki immediately turned to Namikaze Minato and said, Minato, take someone to follow the other party's trail immediately. Be sure to find the guy who robbed people. At the same time, Tsuchikage and Reikage on the side were also blinking, apparently thinking of going with Sarutobi Hiizaki. It was also at the time when the camp of the three major ninja villages took a large-scale operation because of Obito's sudden robbery, and began to search for traces of each other on a large scale with the help of ninja dogs or some special ninjutsu around. About 50 miles away from Shiji Mountain, in a huge hollow karst cave. A twilight old man wearing a tattered robe with white hair around him sat hunched over in his place. On his back, a huge vine-like conduit extends backwards. And at the end of the extension of the conduit, there is a huge monster statue. The statue is like a huge human figure, the body is like dead wood, and there are 9 eyes on the huge head. At this time, the black man who appeared in the camp of the three major ninja villages not long ago slowly emerged from the ground. Lord Madara, I brought people back. Chapter 31 7 Warlords of the Sea, Crocodile. New book for collection. Raising his hand and throwing it, the black man threw Obito, who was completely unconscious, on the ground. Well done, absolutely. Have you encountered any trouble? The old Madara looked at the dark Jew in front of her and asked softly. The three shadows negotiated peace in the central tent, and I didn't encounter much trouble in my actions. Jew shook his head. There are only 2 little devils who found me, one of them is the genius ninja of Konoha's generation, Hitaki Kakashi. Lord Madara, that kid is indeed a genius. If he is from the Uchiha clan, he is the best candidate for the plan. There's no time to pick so many. Madara sneered. You are my creation, you don't need to think about it so much. Have the traces and breath been cleaned up? After hearing Madara's words, Jew heart secretly disdained. As the existence created by Otsutsugi Kagaya, the origin of everything in the actual Jonin world, Madara, who has witnessed the development of the entire ninja world from scratch, is actually extremely disdainful. Talented, but proud of the idealist. Like almost all Indra reincarnations. Just because of the pride in her heart, Madara almost never doubted that Juju was really his creation. Yes, Madara-sama, you also know my abilities. No one in the ninja world can track my location with the help of chakra and breath. Even if it's 3 shadows, it can't do it. But on the bright side, he definitely said respectfully to Madara. HMPH. Shadow. Until now, they are all weak guys, even the little devil Onogi can become a shadow. Madara snorted again. It's not that the centenarian has such a bad temper. It was what had happened recently that made him a little irritable. In fact, Madara has been working hard on the Eye of the Moon project decades ago. With infinite Tsukuyomi, let the whole world be completely and forever at peace, and do what not even Hashirama has done. He almost predicted the start of the Third Ninja War a few years ago, and made many arrangements in advance, and even gave out Rinnegan, who had finally awakened. Advertisement. However, his body is too old. Although he has managed to survive until now with the help of Geto statue behind him, he is still unable to carry out his own plans. So, Madara's only option is to find a temporary heir. That person must be the Uchiha clan, and only this clan can inherit everything from him, including his identity. And this candidate, he found not long ago. Uchiha Obito, a Uchiha like no other. Love the world and others with sincerity, and treat others with sincerity and kindness. This kind of person is rarely seen in the ambitious Uchiha, and there is such a person almost every few decades, commonly known as the Virgin Uchiha. And Madara also knows that it is this Uchiha's potential that is most powerful. The kinder people are, the greater the darkness that erupts when they are swallowed by hatred. This hatred and darkness is the source of Uchiha's strength. Madara had already designed the next plot. As long as the next development goes well, then that kind Uchiha Obito will die, and a brand new mastermind will be born. But just when everything was going well, two organizations suddenly appeared. Gote 13 and the Seven Warlords of the Sea. Muttering the names of these two organizations in a low voice, Madara's heart was extremely depressed. These two powerful organizations that even he had never heard of disrupted his plans. Gote 13 took Third Raikage's body, which was fine. After all, this organization has not appeared again since then, and this incident is only about a month ahead of schedule to start the Third Ninja War, which is still within the acceptable range of Madara. But then, Seven Warlords of the Sea was something else entirely. The other party took Sand Shinobi's One Tail, and directly led to the early termination of the Third Ninja World War. All this makes Madara unacceptable. One Tail is one of the key props of the Eye of the Moon plan, and the early end of the Third Ninja World War has given him no chance to let Obito naturally blacken. Therefore, Madara had no choice but to let Ju take a shot and grab Obito directly. Although there are naturally loopholes in the plan, Madara can't take care of that much. Advertisement. You guard outside, don't let anyone find out here. Madara was very reassured about the ability to absolutely cover up her whereabouts. Then he raised his hand slightly, and a white Zetsu walked out from under Geto statue, carrying Obito to the deeper part of the cave. And Madara also stood up tremblingly and prepared to follow. Now that the time is too late, he is ready to personally tune right-pointing arrow teach and let Obito blacken. But it is also at this time. Boom. A huge thunder followed by an explosion smashed the gate at the only entrance to the huge cave. And this sudden change made Madara's figure froze, and Black Zetsu's dark face also showed a look of horror. No, it's impossible. He is confident in his ability to hide his whereabouts because it was a gift given to him by his mother, Otsutsugi Kagaya. So, of course he can't believe what's happening now. Quote. But compared to absolutely, Madara, who has experienced strong winds and waves, turned her head silently and slowly. Then, he saw the only exit from the cave not far away, and two figures were walking from the ashes of smoke and stones. The famous Uchiha Madara, has he been living in such a place all these years? The two figures were tall without exception, and the figure on the left with four thunder drums hanging behind it was naturally recognized by Madara at a glance. After all, the other party is the key person who directly caused his plan to be disrupted. Of course, he has already learned the identity of the other party through Ju. Enel, one of the seven warlords of the sea. After whispering Enel's name, Madara's eyes slowly turned to the other person. If he can appear with Enel, then the identity of the other party is self-evident. Call. Facing Madara's gaze, the man also slowly removed the cigar from his mouth, exhaled a puff of smoke, and then said plainly. Seven Warlords of the Sea, Crocodile. Asterisk. Chapter 32 I am Uchiha Madara. New book for collection. The second. Seeing the man calling himself Crocodile who appeared in front of him, Madara whispered in her heart. In addition to Enel, who has caused two major incidents in the ninja world, the second member of Seven Warlords of the Sea finally appeared. Moreover, the other party is obviously prepared. Then why did you come here? Although she was extremely surprised, Madara, as a person who was almost invincible in the ninja world in the past, naturally retained her due energy. Of course it's for you, this place is really hidden, and it took us a long time to find your tracks. Enel chuckled. And that black guy next to you, the creation of Otsutsugi Kagaya, who you call, absolute, right? As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar in both Uchiha Madara and Ju's heart. On the one hand, Uchiha Madara was surprised that the other party knew Ju's name, but on the other hand, he was extremely puzzled. As far as he knows, Ju is clearly his creation, a creature born because of his summoning the Geto statue. Then, who is the Otsutsuki Kagaya that the other party said at this time? But compared to Uchiha Madara, Ju's heart at this moment was simply frightened. Because this is the first time since his birth that his identity has been directly and so clearly stated. Lord Madara, so he definitely looked at Madara in a hurry. Needless to say, you are my creation. Uchiha Madara waved his hand, a sharp gleam in his aged eyes. Let's go first with that kid, everything is going according to plan. Yes, Madara-sama, and after hearing Uchiha Madara's words, he definitely made a decision after a short pause. He rolled up the Obito on the ground, and in a flash he melted into the ground. As for Madara, she looked at the two people in front of her with her eyes that should have been cloudy but were actually extremely sharp. Advertisement. But he was surprised to find that neither Crocodile nor Enel moved. It wasn't until Ju disappeared with Obito that Crocodile waved his right hand slightly and looked at Madara pointedly. The famous Uchiha Madara was actually fooled by this. After breaking up for the person who fooled him, he still foolishly believes in the Eye of the Moon plan, which makes people laugh out loud. HMPH, ridiculous. But after hearing this, Madara sneered. Do you think you can disturb me with such words? Between the words, he obviously did not believe the vague words of Crocodile and Enel. Whatever you say. After seeing Uchiha Madara's performance like this, Crocodile also said noncommittally. Behind the scenes, Yi Lin, who was manipulating the two puppets, was not surprised. In fact, he had already guessed that Uchiha Madara could not believe him. Because Uchiha Madara is too proud and too stubborn. To put it bluntly, this kind of person is dead brains. In Uchiha Madara's view, the existence of the Moon Eye was deciphered by the Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil power from the ancient stone tablet handed down by the Uchiha family. As for the illusion that all this was created, Uchiha Madara would not believe it at all. But for Yi Lin, he didn't need Uchiha Madara to believe it. Because the words he said were meant to be heard by Ju. Although in the original, this creation of Otsutsugi Kagaya did not show any amazing combat prowess. But Yi Lin felt that Otsutsugi Kagaya would never leave a guy who didn't even have the ability to protect himself to implement his resurrection plan. That's why he directly pointed out Ju's identity, in order to make this extremely cautious Otsutsuki creature leave because of fear. And in fact, he did succeed. In Uchiha Madara's own plan, he was supposed to die after successfully finding the heir. And now facing the attack of 2-7 warlords of the sea, he decisively chose to start the plan ahead of time. Then, the hyenas hiding in the dark. After seeing Ju leaving with Obito at this time, Madara's voice, who had no worries, instantly became domineering. Advertisement. His aged body rose slowly from the wooden seat below the Gedo statue. The scarlet Sharingan exudes a bright color in the dark tones of the cave. I'll let you guys see it. At the same time as the words fell, Gedo statue, who was like dead wood behind him, also let out a dull roar. Then, Uchiha Madara's originally extremely old body also began to change in an instant. The gray hair began to turn black, and the old body began to look younger. But in just a moment, he has transformed into the peak appearance of his youth. And behind him, he was also disconnected from Gedo statue. It's not that easy to want my life. I am Uchiha Madara. There was a huge sense of oppression, but Enel and Crocodile remained unmoved. Sure enough, Madara will keep one hand at any time. After seeing this scene, Yi Lin also sighed in his heart. Just as he was worried about Ju before, he also didn't think Madara would really have no precautions at all. For example, in the original book, Madara took Obito away by taking advantage of Obito's chance to be pinned under a boulder, and has never been found. But what if he was found out? Is Madara really like a dying old man who was killed alive by others? Yi Lin felt that this was impossible. With Madara's experience and arrogance, he will definitely leave the last trump card. It now appears that his judgment is correct. Madara did have a whole card left. Temporarily restored to life by the power of Gedo statue. Enel looked at Madara flatly. How long can this candle-like power in the wind last? It's enough to solve you. When Madara's arrogant words fell, the battle had already begun. Chapter 33 Uchiha Madara. I have seen through everything. New book for collection. I am Uchiha Madara. As the words fell, Madara's figure came to Enel almost instantly. His body was bent into an explosive arc, and his right leg swept directly like a whip. So fast. Yi Lin, who was manipulating the Enel puppet, couldn't help being a little shocked. Even though Enel's heart net was able to capture Madara's movements, it was still faster than he expected. Buzz. But the moment Madara's leg touched Enel, the kick went straight through Enel's body like hitting a ball of cotton. Seeing that Enel's kicked position turned into lightning, Madara's eyes flashed slightly. Is it the same ability as the rumor? Apparently, he had gotten some information about Enel from somewhere. Thunder. At the same time, Enel, who used elementalization to easily defuse Madara's offensive, also raised his hand and pointed at Madara. But just as the lightning was gathering in his hands, Madara had already completed the movements of turning and dodging with the swiftness of a cheetah. Boom. The lightning that flew out sent a loud bang around, and Madara's elbow was already in the position where Enel's fingers stretched out just before Enel's next attack was about to launch. Boom. He pushed his elbow out, making a violent explosion in the air. At the same time, Enel's next blow can only be terminated. If he is not elementalized at this time, he will really be hit by Madara. And then Enel made more than one attempt again. He used elementalization to turn into lightning to distance himself and try to attack. But every time his attack failed to make a shot, Madara had come to the front, and his attack had to be terminated with excellent physical skills. Sharing. And Yi Lin, who was manipulating the Enel puppet, was also extremely shocked at this time. Since he got the Enel puppet, it was the first time he was in such a situation of being crushed and beaten. And he never thought that there was such a way to solve Enel's thunder fruit. Enel's elementalization can perfectly evade most physical attacks. But to really attack, you need to beat the thunder drum, so naturally you can't rely on elementalization, but you need to condense your body. And Madara took advantage of this, and used Sharingan's ability to see through movements and her own exaggerated fighting ability to force Enel to become elemental, so as to achieve the effect of suppression. If it wasn't for the fact that Yi Lin had solved the energy problem before, then if Enel continued to be elementalized like this, sooner or later, the energy would be unbearable. As expected of Uchiha Madara. Advertisement. At the same time, Yi Lin also sighed sincerely. There is no doubt that Uchiha Madara has achieved the perfect combination of mind, body, technique, and its strength is absolutely overwhelming in the entire ninja world. And Yi Lin knew that this was just an incomplete version of Uchiha Madara. After all, now, the strongest source of power in the ninja world, Rinnegan, has been temporarily deposited by him on a kid in Rain Shinobi Village, and what he is using now is just a pair of ordinary Sharingans transplanted. But even the incomplete version of Uchiha Madara can still suppress Enel, which shows that the opponent's strength should indeed exceed the scope of S-class. But, I have more than one puppet. While talking to himself like this, Crocodile, who was beside him, immediately shot. Sand treasure sword. He suddenly stretched out his hand towards Madara, and the sand in the soil on the ground instantly condensed into a giant sand blade. Crocodile raised his hand and waved, and the huge sand blade cut through the air and attacked Madara. But when Sand Shinobi cut Madara's body in half, Madara's figure suddenly turned into white smoke and disappeared. Shadow clone. Crocodile was slightly taken aback after seeing this. But after a while, Madara's indifferent voice was heard in his ears, fire-style Long Yan Fang Song technique. The huge fire-type chakra suddenly surged, turning into 5 ferocious dragon heads and surrounding Crocodile from all directions. At the same time, the seal in Madara's hands has not ended. Fire-style fire extinguishing. He spewed out a raging fire like sea water from his mouth again, turning the ground into a sea of fire. Up, down, left and right, he blocked almost all of Crocodile's retreat routes in this short period of time. So the next moment, the sea of fire swept the entire cave. Sand shield. In the face of this blow, Crocodile raised his hand slightly. Countless yellow sand surged up from under the ground again, turning into a huge shield to protect Crocodile. Bake. After a while, a sea of scorching fire collided with the shield. But before Crocodile could breathe a sigh of relief, he noticed a pair of eyes suddenly appeared in front of him. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have exposed your abilities so early. Your companion snatched the one tail for you, but to me, Jinchuriki and the tailed beast mean nothing. In front of Crocodile, Madara sneered. Advertisement. Then, he activated the illusion. Inside the Scarlet 3 Tomo Sharingan, the Guyu keeps spinning. After hearing Madara's words, Yi Lin, who was controlling the crocodile puppet, was also stunned. What the hell is Madara talking about? What a one tail, what a tailed beast is meaningless. FK. As soon as he thought of this, Yi Lin suddenly reacted. Does Madara think that Crocodile is one-tailed Jinchuriki? He immediately understood what Uchiha Madara was thinking. Isn't it? Not long ago, Enel snatched the one-tail Sand Shuhei from Sand Shinobi, and now there is a strong sand manipulator in 7 Warlords of the Sea. And Crocodile's ability, no matter how you look at it, is basically carved out of the same mold as Jinchuriki in Sand Shinobi Village. So obviously, Madara is clearly misunderstood now. After all, it all seems too coincidence. At the same time, Madara naturally didn't know the speechlessness in Yi Lin's mind. For him, he felt that he had stabilized. His combat experience is too rich. So after discovering that Enel's ability is indeed similar to the intelligence, it is extremely difficult to solve. He shifted his focus to Crocodile. With one enemy too, only by solving one first will you have a chance of winning. Then, he instantly reacted from Crocodile's ability, and the opponent must be One Tail's new Jinchuriki. So between the lightning and flint, he has already arranged his tactics. Use his best fire style to trap the opponent and force the opponent to use defensive moves. He himself can use this opportunity to get close, and then use Sharingan to solve each other. After all, as he said, the tailed beast means nothing to him. His pupil power can easily subdue any tailed beast, and even in the past when he and Senju Hashirama had a decisive battle in the Valley of the End, he manipulated 9 tails to help him fight. By this time, his plan had been successful. Looking at Crocodile who seemed to have been stunned, Madara directly put her 4 fingers together, and stabbed Crocodile with a knife in her palm. Laugh. The palm pierced the opponent's body, and Madara sneered in her heart. 7 Warlords of the Sea, that's all. Chapter 34 Madara, who holds vengeance, 3 shadows are present. New book for collection. Just when Madara's heart swelled, he felt something was wrong. Because his palm did not feel blood, but as if stabbed in the sand. At the same time, he saw a teasing sneer at the corner of Crocodile's mouth in front of him. No, he has no illusions. Madara, who reacted instantly, wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Countless sands had risen from below the ground, completely enveloping him. You are the perfect Jinchuriki. Madara looked at Crocodile in disbelief. In his opinion, only the perfect Jinchuriki can escape his illusions. But after a while, he realized something was wrong. Because from the time one tail was taken to the present, such a short time is definitely not enough to make a Jinchuriki a perfect Jinchuriki. And he saw at this moment that the part of Crocodile that had been pierced by his hand had a hole. At this time, countless sand and dust were filling the void and turning into Crocodile's body. And this look instantly reminded Madara of Enel. So it is, you are not Jinchuriki. He immediately realized his mistake. 7 Warlords of the Sea have similar abilities. In Madara's view, the elementalization ability of the two is undoubtedly a kind of ninjutsu that is very similar. Even with his knowledge, he couldn't understand the essence of this terrible ninjutsu. But this time, desert prison. At such a close distance, Madara is naturally unavoidable. Crocodile's right hand suddenly grabbed him, and then the huge suction began to absorb all the moisture from Madara's body. As the water was absorbed from her body, Madara's body slowly became shriveled, and her breathing finally ceased. Uchiha Madara seems to be dead. But fools believe it. Yi Lin, who was controlling the two puppets, sneered. Then, snapped. Advertisement. I saw Crocodile's hand slap on the ground. From where his right hand touches, everything starts to be broken. The ground began to crack and crumble, and the rock walls of the cave began to collapse. Everything seems to be dead and damaged, even the rocks are gradually pulverized into the purest sand, and everything in the entire cave seems to be dead. And this is also the strongest move of Crocodile's sandy fruit. Arost Samsara. At the same time, Enel also sounded the 4 thunder drums behind him. As he beat the thunder drum, the unprecedented huge thunder and lightning slowly condensed into a huge thunder ball in front of him. The astonishing airflow and huge current show infinite destructive power. Also, this is Enel's strongest move. Lei Ying. With the joint release of the two strongest moves, the area of dozens of miles around the cave was instantly swept away by huge destructive power and impact. The ground turned into powder, and even the clouds in the sky were annihilated by this huge destructive force. After this huge and terrifying blow, Crocodile and Enel at the center of the explosion were simultaneously transformed from elementalization into humanoid form. And only then did they look at the ghetto statue not far away. I saw that under the golem at this time, the Madara, who should have died, was still standing there. The only difference from before was that Madara was obviously seriously injured by the terrible blow just now, and one of his Sharingan had completely lost its luster. Really? Did you escape the death just now with Izanagi? Looking at this scene, Yi Lin, who was controlling the two puppets, also secretly said that it was true. After he successfully controlled Crocodile to kill Uchiha Madara just now, he immediately realized a problem. That is Izanagi, who is called Ultimate Eye Technique. A terrible ninjutsu that pays the price of permanent blindness of a Sharingan, records its own state at the moment of activation, and then saves all damage for the duration. Uchiha Madara used this technique to escape death when he was in the Valley of the End. So Yi Lin naturally wouldn't ignore this crucial ninjutsu, so after Uchiha Madara died, he still manipulated two puppets to launch an attack with a big move. And now it looks like it's clearly worth it. Does even Izanagi know? At this time, Madara was clearly aware of the situation. He still had one eye left, but when the other party already knew about Izanagi's existence, it wouldn't make much sense to activate it again. Because, advertisement. 7 Warlords of the Sea. His words were still haughty, but with every word he said, his body became shriveled. It was clear that the life force he had drawn from Ghetto Statue had reached its limit as the battle had gotten to this point. But even in this case, the ninja hero still looked at Crocodile and Enel in front of him with a flat expression. Today's shame, I have written down. As his body completely recovered to its previous state of extreme old age, his words finally came to the last sentence. Next time, when I come back, you. His words were abrupt at this point. His breathing stopped here, so the words naturally had no follow-up. Immediately after that, the huge Ghetto statue slowly disappeared into nothingness. It was a creation created by summoning, and as the summoning died, it would naturally be teleported back to its original place. Next time, looking at the dead old figure in front of him, Yi Lin, who was manipulating the two puppets, also smiled softly. He didn't care about Madara's apparently vengeful words. After such a big change in the plot, whether Madara can be successfully resurrected in the future is completely unknown. What's more, what if Madara can really be resurrected in the future? With Yi Lin's current strength and the growth rate of his strength, at that time he might have been able to shout, Laozi is invincible in the world. So Yi Lin didn't care at all, but directly manipulated the crocodile puppet to wrap Madara's body with sand. This is the only and biggest purpose of his coming here, so he can't go wrong. But it is also at this time. Su, 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 su. Several crisp sounds of breaking the air came, and then many ninja figures appeared in the distance. The 3 leading ninjas are also Hokage, Tsuchikage and Raikage, who were in Shijishin before. In addition, next to them was Namikaze Minato, who looked anxious. In addition to the 4 people in the front, behind them, dozens or more of ninjas can still be seen jumping between the trees, but they are not as fast as these 4. Obviously, Enel and Crocodile made too much noise before, so that they attracted the 3 shadows who were already searching for Obito. However, after seeing this scene, Yi Lin did not choose to directly recover the 2 puppets. Sure enough, I found it. On the contrary, his eyes lit up at this time, and there was a narrow smile on the corner of his mouth. And this kind of smile is almost the same as when he manipulated my wife Zenitsu to fool Namikaze Minato. Then, the final act of this scene can also begin. Chapter 35 Attack Me with Lightning Style. You are such a genius. New book for collection. Since Uchiha Obito was kidnapped in the camp, the 3 major ninja villages have been moving in unison. Not to mention how close the relationship between the 3 parties is. But because the ninja who robbed Konoha during the peace negotiation was undoubtedly a provocation to the 3 major ninja villages. So after learning that there was a battle nearby and the scale was huge, the 3 shadows came with some of the elite ninjas. But even if they knew that there was a battle nearby, everyone was still stunned when they actually came here. Because the tall trees that had grown lushly for a long time in the vicinity have all changed their appearance at this time. Withered branches and leaves and shriveled tree body, the entire tree has been completely withered and weathered, and it will shatter and turn into powder almost at a touch. Especially in the center of the battle, the huge trace that seemed to have been bombed by nuclear weapons made the ninjas feel awe-inspiring. What kind of existence is fighting here to form this situation like a natural disaster? Single quote. With this thought in mind, they soon saw the two figures in the center of the battlefield. It's Enel of the Seven Warlords of the Sea. The information network in hand of the three shadows is certainly enough to let them know about Enel's appearance, so at this time fourth Raikage is also the fastest to recognize Enel's identity. He has already paid great attention to this lightning-style ninja who has made a huge incident by one person, especially the lightning-style ninjutsu that the other party is said to be able to turn into lightning. But Namikaze Minato and the other duo's focus is on another person than fourth Raikage. Namikaze Minato and Sarutobi Hiizaki's focus was on the other man standing beside Enel. That guy. Judging from the position and performance of the opponent and Enel, the two are undoubtedly companions. In other words, the second seven warlords of the sea member. Thinking of this, the hearts of the two of them suddenly became awe-inspiring. Just a member of Enel's seven warlords of the sea before, has already made a huge noise in the ninja world. And now, in this mysterious organization that has become famous in the ninja world, a second member has finally appeared. Look at that new guy, behind him. At the same time, third Tsuchikage also reminded softly. After hearing his words, the other three and many ninjas just noticed one thing. That's right behind Crocodile, a cloud of sand closely following him. And judging from the size and shape of the sand, there is no doubt that there is a person inside. The ability to manipulate sand, is that why they took the one tail? After noticing this scene, the first reaction in Three Shadows' heart was very similar to Madara's, thinking Crocodile was the Jinchuriki of One Tail. But this can't blame them, after all, the world view determines the size of the field of vision. And their vision is destined to be incomparable to Yi Lin. Sure enough, these guys did it. It should be Obito. The only exception is Namikaze Minato, who has always cared about the safety of his disciples. Advertisement. Stop them. Don't let them go. But no matter what the Three Shadows were thinking, their decision was extremely consistent. There are only two people on the other side, and there are only four of them in the cage-level powerhouse. In other words, this is an opportunity. But, long before they do. Zizizi. It sounded like 1,000 birds chirping. Then a figure rushed out of the ninja community behind the Three Shadows and rushed towards Enel and Crocodile. Kakashi. And after seeing that figure, Minato also showed a rare look of surprise. Obviously, he did not expect that his always calm and proud disciple would actually do such a thing. At the same time, Kakashi's eyes, who rushed towards Enel, were full of coldness and anger. Not long ago, he witnessed one of his only friends, Obito, being kidnapped right in front of him. He was proud of Hitaki-style swordsmanship and strength, but he couldn't stop all this from happening, which made him feel shame in his heart. So at this time, he attacked without hesitation. And what he performed was the lightning-style ninjutsu, Chidori, that he created and even had not perfected. But, Zizi. As the chirping of the 1,000 birds became clearer, Kakashi's had come to Enel. The hand wrapped in thunder and lightning pierced directly, hitting the opponent's chest. But then, Kakashi only saw the other side's slightly sneering and teasing expression. Using mine against me, you're a genius. As soon as the words fell, Kakashi felt that the Chidori in his hand suddenly became out of control. The thunder and lightning condensed in his hand fell into the opponent's hands a moment later, and turned into a blade of thunder and slashed towards him. What made Kakashi, who was arrogant, even more unbelievable, was that he couldn't think of an effective way to resist this blow. The ninjutsu, knife technique, body flicker technique and taijutsu that he has always been proud of flashed in his mind. But these things have no value in the face of this blow. But the next moment, he saw a touch of golden hair appear in front of him. Don't try to touch my students. In Namikaze Minato's hand, a kunai, which was circulating with chakra, collided with the thunder blade. Afterwards, Namikaze Minato immediately backed away as soon as he grabbed Kakashi. After seeing this scene, Yi Lin did not control the two puppets to pursue them. On the contrary, he was a little muttered in his heart at this time. Advertisement. The future, Hitaki, is 55-50, and now it looks like he is 10-10. But then again, Obito doesn't seem to have awakened the Sharingan yet, nor did he give it to the Kakashi Sharingan. In this way, Kakashi without Sharingan, how will he grow up in the end? Yi Lin thought about it with great interest. He vaguely remembered that he seemed to have seen an official set called Kakashi Ritsuden in his previous life, and it was mentioned in it that for non-Uchiha ninjas, the Sharingan itself was extremely difficult to use and had a great burden. So if Kakashi doesn't get Obito's Sharingan, then the achievement of this genius Konoha will be higher than having Sharingan. But it was when Yi Lin was muttering in his heart that Kakashi himself was being reprimanded. Kakashi, ninjas have to keep calm at all times, did you even forget that? These two guys are not the enemies you can deal with now, go back to me. Minato, who has always been mild and sunny, rarely drank Kakashi in a low voice at this time. I'm sorry, Minato-sensei. And after the simple blow just now, Kakashi knew that Namikaze Minato was right. So he bowed his head and admitted his mistake, but he also felt an unprecedented setback in his heart. Jonin turned out to be just that. He was a little complacent about his achievement of becoming a Jonin at the age of 14, but now he has fully recovered from this huge setback. The so-called Jonin is not qualified to connect to the next move in front of a real monster, let alone rescue his friend. Minato-sensei, I was the one who was reckless. But please, be sure to rescue Obito. So, Kakashi also whispered to Minato. Of course. After hearing Kakashi's words, Minato knew that his disciple had calmed down, so he nodded solemnly. Obito is my student, I will definitely save him. And your previous behavior was reckless, but it's not that there's no benefit at all. Between the words, he also pointedly looked at Enel and Crocodile in front of him. At this time, Kakashi also noticed. Just in the short blow just now, the positions of the personnel on the field have undergone tremendous changes. Fourth Raikage raised his fists and stood to the west of the two. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiizaki was standing to the north of the two with a pipe in his mouth. Third Tsuchikage Onogi floated to the south of the two with his hands on his back. Add Namikaze Minato in the east position of the duo. Just in that short period of time, the 4-cage level powerhouses had completely surrounded the two of them before they knew it. Chapter 36 Gote 13, Show Up. New book for collection. Sure enough, the fighting consciousness of cage level is different. Looking at the battlefield that had changed between the lightning and flint, and the three shadows that almost surrounded the two puppets, Yi Lin was also in admiration. Just like Madara's high wisdom in the battle before, the battle of the strong is between lightning and flint, and the competition is consciousness and instinct. Just like before, from Kakashi's shot to Namikaze Minato's rescue, in the final analysis, it's just an instant. But in such an instant, the three shadows have already cut off the best route for the two puppets to escape. This is the embodiment of fighting consciousness. Ah, you seem to have misunderstood us. But when he saw 4-cage level powerhouses surrounding him, Enel didn't panic at all. Facing the three shadows and Namikaze Minato with bright eyes in front of him, he smiled softly. You are here for that ninja named Uchiha Obito. Speaking of which, you don't believe it. The kidnapping has nothing to do with us. It was done by a guy called Ju. After hearing this sentence, the expressions of the 4-cage level powerhouses did not change. Obviously, they already regarded Enel as hostile, and they wouldn't believe anything Enel said at all. Ah, what a hassle. Crocodile, show them. After seeing this scene, Enel turned his head helplessly and said something. The name of the second member of the Crocodile. 7 Warlords of the Sea. At this time, Sanyang also secretly remembered this name in his heart. At the same time, seeing the movements of the two, they became more vigilant, for fear that the two would suddenly attack. But soon, they discovered that Crocodile and Enel did not attack. On the contrary, Crocodile actually raised his hand slightly. Then, the ball of sand behind him cracked a hole. From the hollow, the three shadows and Namikaze Minato could naturally see the old figure in the sand. But it is worth mentioning that Namikaze Minato was stunned when he saw the figure, because the body in the sand was indeed not Obito. So, Namikaze Minato subconsciously began to observe the expressions of the remaining three shadows. The first thing he observed was Raikage. This fourth Raikage, who was supposed to be a lower generation among the three shadows, also frowned at the corpse at this time, obviously not knowing each other. But, advertisement. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. The expressions of the remaining two shadows changed dramatically at this time. He is that guy. Namikaze Minato observed that third Tsuchikage Onogi's body couldn't even help trembling, and his face seemed to be scared and excited, and at the same time, it seemed like hatred. As for third Hokage Sarutobi Hiizaki, his expression was extremely gloomy at this time. Even the news of the start of the Third Ninja World War was not enough to move this shinobi, but the corpse in front of him had enough qualifications. Lord Hokage, that corpse is. Seeing the shock that the two shadows could hardly hide, Namikaze Minato also asked in person. Then, he heard Sarutobi Hiizaki's almost gritted teeth. That guy is Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara. So even Namikaze Minato's heart suddenly shook at this moment. Uchiha Madara is also a mythical name in the history of the ninja world. A peerless genius of the same era as Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas, who alone is enough to overwhelm men in the ninja world. The ninja world even recognized that if it weren't for the existence of Senju Hashirama, then the ninja world would eventually be unified by Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara, isn't it said to have died in the Valley of the End? In the blink of an eye, Namikaze Minato also immediately understood the importance of the situation. The presence of Uchiha Madara's body here undoubtedly means that he may not have died in the Valley of the End. But now, he is indeed dead. At the hands of these two members of the 7 Warlords of the Sea. You have also seen that he is not the person you were looking for. But soon, Crocodile reached out and wrapped Uchiha Madara's body in the sand again. Afterwards, Crocodile looked at the 4 people in front of him indifferently. So, please get out of the way. As far as we know, there are a few troublesome guys around here. We don't want to get into a fight with you and get those guys' attention. His words fell, and Sannying felt a trace of anger in his heart. Advertisement. The meaning of the other party's words is very clear. They are not afraid of conflict with the three shadows at all, they are actually worried about the troubling guys, they call them. For Sannying, this is undoubtedly a form of contempt. But compared to the three shadows, Namikaze Minato's heart moved. Who is the guy the seven warlords of the sea call trouble? Thinking of this, Namikaze Minato immediately reminded Senkage not to be impulsive. But it is also at this time. I think it's too late for you to leave. Yu's voice came from the forest, clear and proud. At the same time as hearing this voice, many people in Rock Shinobi also changed their expressions immediately. They were very familiar with this voice. It was the owner of this voice who brought them great shame a few months ago. After a while, everyone saw two figures slowly walking out from the depths of the forest. The face and temperament of the two are completely different. An independent, like a nobleman, calm and calm. The other is ferocious and violent, grinning like a beast looking for prey. And the only thing in common that can connect the two is the pure white yori, and the numbers, 6, and 11, behind them. 7 warlords of the sea, Thor, Enel and, Sand Crocodile, Crocodile. I'd say who stole our target, you guys again. The two who suddenly appeared looked at Enel and Crocodile and spoke coldly. And Enel also retorted, it's ridiculous. Byakuya Kuchiki and Zaraki Kenpachi of Gote 13, the two captains of Jingling, don't they even understand the principle of first come, first served? The confrontation between the two sides almost made the identities of the newly appeared too clear. The expressions of the three shadows and Namikaze Minato have also become more solemn than ever. Gote 13, 7 warlords of the sea. For the first time, these two organizations, which were hidden in the dark but had never had any relevant information, appeared in everyone's field of vision at the same time. Asterisk. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. End chapter 37. It's an opponent worthy of a slash. New book for collection. With the appearance of Byakuya Kuchiki and Zaraki Kenpachi, the situation on the scene instantly became complicated. After 7 warlords of the sea, even 2 captains appeared. The captain of the 6th division is the Byakuya Kuchiki who appeared before. As the other one named Zaraki Kenpachi, the captain of the 11th division. Especially the 3 shadows, countless thoughts flashed in their hearts at this time. As the shadows of the village, they are not stupid. So they can also read some information from this scene. The first point is that the 2 captains of Gote 13 seem to have known Enel and Crocodile for a long time, and the relationship between the two sides is obviously not friendly. Even judging from their words, the two sides seem to be jealous of each other, and at the same time, it seems that there is still conflict in each other's goals. Second, Enel and Crocodile also seem to have corresponding titles in the 7 warlords of the sea, namely, Thor, and Sand Crocodile. Thirdly, Gote 13 seems to have a lair or base named Jingling. Sure enough, it's the same as what Shani said. And among them, only Namikaze Minato and Sarutobi Hiizaki thought to themselves. They have long known about the existence of Jingling from my wife Shani, and the conversation between the 4 in front of them at this time undoubtedly supports my wife Shani's statement. Therefore, there is no more doubt in the hearts of the two. There is indeed a behind the scenes in the ninja world that they don't know about. Now that Jingling has been confirmed to exist, so must the Grand Line and Fuji Hayama. Even that Uchiha Madara seems to have become one of their prey. Sarutobi Hiizaki's heart sank secretly when he thought that those speculations in Konoha were likely to come true. These organizations, which may have existed since the beginning of the ninja world, have shown their traces in the ninja world, which is undoubtedly a huge impact on the current situation of the ninja world. Of course, thinking belongs to thinking, but the most important issue at this time is not what to think about, but how to make a decision. For this question, the 3 Kage and Namikaze Minato made a decision without thinking much. Among them, the fastest to act is 4th Raikage. With this Raikage's irritable temper, he couldn't hold back. Darui. Advertisement. He gently stretched out his hand and made a gesture, and behind him, Darui, who was his guard, showed a surprised and worried expression. Sir Raikage. According to my arrangement, 4th Raikage's eyes seem to flicker. They are not enemies you can deal with, and the next battle is not a field you can touch. Although he had never confronted the opponent directly, a little information was enough for 4th Raikage to judge the opponent's strength. Quote. Yes. After hearing 4th Raikage's words, Darui also nodded slightly after being silent for a while. Then, he also turned around and shouted to the Cloud Shinobi elites behind him, do it. As soon as the words fell, Cloud Shinobi started to seal their seals in an instant. But after a while, they all patted down together. Lightning style 32 column bondage technique. Following their movements, 32 dark stone pillars also rose from under the ground. Each stone pillar is surrounded by a huge amount of lightning, which impressively isolates the 8 people in the center of the battlefield. At the same time, the remaining 2 ninja villages also made almost the same decisions. Ninja 12 Purple Flame Formation. The 12 elite ninjas of Konoha started together, so a huge purple barrier also isolated the 8 of them. Boundary. 8 Mountains Landfall Formation. Rock Shinobi is led by 8 elite ninjas, and a dark earth-colored curtain is also slowly rising. But in a short while, the 3 barriers laid by the elite ninjas completely divided the battlefield into 2 pieces. Hey, it looks like someone doesn't want us to go. After seeing this situation, Enel also sneered. Yes, the current situation is very clear, and the 3 shadows are also very clear. 7 warlords of the sea and Gote 13, they have to investigate, so there is no doubt that this is the best chance. So the 3 shadows almost made the same decision. They want to keep these 4 here. The Gote 13 guys hand it over to me. So the next moment, 4th Raikage's figure disappeared in place at a lightning speed. Advertisement. After a while, he was already in front of Byakuya Kuchiki. Lei has an iron fist. The explosive muscles tensed, and bursts of thunder erupted in the air. He punched Byakuya Kuchiki directly. But it was at this moment that the other hand suddenly stretched out and grabbed his fist. Boom. The explosive force of the collision of the hands exploded in the air. You guy. Raikage looked at Zaraki Kenpachi, who was blocking him, with a solemn expression. His original target, of course, was Byakuya Kuchiki, the man who took his father's body, but he didn't expect Zaraki Kenpachi's sudden attack. And he didn't even think that Zaraki Kenpachi could take his fist in this way. Nice fist. And when he looked at Zaraki Kenpachi, he grinned like a delicious diners with a frenzied smile. At the same time, the bandage on the bandaged Zanpakuto in his hand gradually fell off, and after a moment, his true face was revealed. It was an extremely tattered knife, the entire blade was full of pits and serrations, and the blade was even more dirty. But when he saw the knife, Raikage's expression became more solemn. How much fighting and hacking does it take to make a sword look like this? It's a worthy opponent. At the same time as the words fell, Zaraki Kenpachi's right hand directly swung the sword. So Raikage waved his hand immediately, and the thick armor on his wrist blocked the blow. At the same time, his body was also knocked out by Zaraki Kenpachi's huge force. And Zaraki Kenpachi immediately dodged and chased, and the 2 sides immediately fought together. At the same time, the remaining 2 shadows and Namikaze Minato also found their opponents. Sarutobi Hiizaki goes up against Byakuya Kuchiki, Namikaze Minato goes up against Enel, and finally 3rd Tsuchikage Onogi goes up against Crocodile. So in the triple enchantment, the battle started completely. Asterisk. Chapter 38 Lightning Style Chakra Mode. New book for collection. Shadow, a name that can only be possessed by powerful ninjas standing at the pinnacle of the ninja world. Although there is no rigid requirement, every shadow has always had a combat power far exceeding that of Jonin, and cage level itself has always been one of the criteria for evaluating combat power in the ninja world. Just like the ultimate 4 Red Yang formation, in the enchantment, it requires 4 Hokage level ninjas to perform. But there is no doubt that in the ninja world, cage level battles between each other are extremely rare. After all, Ying is almost always the leader of the village, so naturally it is impossible to easily fight in person. The most recent cage-level battle was probably not long ago Cloud Shinobi and Konoha frontline, Namikaze Minato against 4th Raikage and his partner Killer B's ab combination. Of course, the battle itself wasn't too obvious. Namikaze Minato's current strength is not enough to really defeat the ab combination, but his Flying Thunder God technique makes him invincible. In addition to this battle, the cage-level battle pushed further up may be traced back to the Second Ninja World War. This also shows how rare cage-level battles are with each other, and even many young ninjas may not have seen them at all. But now they have seen it. And this time I saw not 1, but 4 4 battlefields with completely different fighting styles. For example, at this time, the battlefield between 4th Raikage and Zaraki Kenpachi is a pure hard battle. 4th Raikage has already tempered his body, and his lightning style ninjutsu has already reached the ultimate. Every punch he hits on the ground creates a huge hole in the ground, and the surging power even shakes the surrounding ground. In the face of Raikage's terrifying attack, Zaraki Kenpachi did not have any intention of retreating at all, but instead confronted him directly with Zanpakuto in hand. His slashing technique doesn't even have any skills or moves at all. Every time the blade collided with the armor of Raikage's wrist, the enormous force shook the surrounding enchantment. And if the battle between 4th Raikage and Zaraki Kenpachi is a violent aesthetic of force and slashing, then the battle between Sarutobi Hiizaki and Byakuya Kuchiki on the other hand illustrates what skill is. Earth style heart beheading technique. Fire style fire dragon bullet. Water style water barrier. Ninja shuriken shadow clone technique. I saw Sarutobi Hiizaki constantly using all kinds of completely different ninjutsu. Advertisement. Whether it is earth style, fire style, water style or shadow clone and other ninjutsu, the ninja who is called Dr. Ninja is almost all good. The coordination of his various ninjutsu skills is almost flawless, and the use of various techniques is flawless. But opposite him, Byakuya Kuchiki showed the most comprehensive demonstration as a captain. In the face of Sarutobi Hiizaki's various offensives, he used various means to resolve them accordingly. Delicate swordsmanship accurately splits the incoming ninjutsu and shuriken, and the swift shunpo approaches with various kido as support. The cracking and confrontation between each other, just looking at it is enough to make people feel the mind of a high mountain. And then, the battle between 3rd Tsuchikage Onogi and Crocodile is extremely grand. I saw the countless sand and dust on the ground surging into huge arms and continuously shot down at Onogi, and Onogi used Earth-style ninjutsu to make countless earth barriers for defense. Between the two sides attacking, even the landscape of the entire battlefield is constantly changing. As for the last battlefield, that of Namikaze Minato and Enel, these ninjas couldn't see it at all. The reason is simple. Both sides are going too fast. They could only see the electric light and golden figures in the battlefield flickering continuously and then disappearing after a while, like a flash of lightning and a golden flash. As this a cage-level fight? Looking at the battle situation on the four battlefields, all the ninjas present were only amazed. Just the aftermath of the battle is like a natural disaster, not to mention the two sides of the battle themselves. They couldn't help but ask themselves in their hearts, if they were on the battlefield, how long could they last on the battlefield? And the answer can be said to be clear. One blow at most and all die. Looking at the battlefield in the fierce battle, all the elite ninjas clenched their fists tightly. It was only now that they finally understood why the filmmakers had made arrangements for them to set the barrier at the same time. It's not just to ensure that the other party can't escape, but also to ensure their safety. As Raikage had told his bodyguard Darui before, this was not a fight they could get involved in. If they really intervene, then in front of these guys it's just death in vain. So they can only watch from a distance as they are now, and wait for the result of the battle. Advertisement. In fact, they didn't wait too long. Because soon, the anxious situation on the battlefield has been broken. And the first to break the deadlock was the youngest of the three shadows, fourth Raikage. Tricky guy. Another blow barely knocked Zaraki Kenpachi back, and after taking a few steps back, fourth Raikage gritted his teeth. He knows his power best himself. He has been stimulated by his father, lightning-style chakra, since he was a child, which has made his body a formidable body, and its strength is extremely amazing. He was extremely confident, and there would never be a ninja in the ninja world who could compete with him on speed and strength in a one-on-one situation. But now, he has encountered an exception. Zaraki Kenpachi is not inferior to him in fighting power. And more importantly, he could feel the excitement of the other party. There was a belligerent beast hidden in the other's breath, constantly roaring at Raikage. Come and drink blood. Come and fight. And in this case, Raikage felt the pressure the more he fought. Zaraki Kenpachi, captain of the 11th division, he really is a monster. Raikage, who was slashed back by Zaraki Kenpachi again, muttered to himself, and then did not hesitate. So, at the same time as the words fell, a blue thunder appeared on his body. Boom. The blue chakra covered his body like an armor, and the explosive force even cracked the ground instantly. And this is the secret technique that Cloud Shinobi is proud of, lightning-style chakra mode. Just use this trick to get rid of you. Chapter 39 Reiatsu Liberated, the Suppressed Raikage. New book for collection. Almost. Seeing that fourth Raikage finally used the lightning-style chakra mode, Yi Lin, who was manipulating the Zaraki Kenpachi puppet, was not surprised or happy. He basically knew the cards of the three shadows, so naturally he was not surprised. On the contrary, Raikage used lightning-style chakra mode, and it hit his heart. Because the purpose of his action this time is actually three. The first, of course, is for Madara's body. The second is to test the newly obtained puppet strength. The test results are almost the same. Crocodile had already tested it initially against Madara before, and it was basically carved out of the same mold as Enel. Both are puppets of mass destruction. They are not very strong in one-on-one terms, but they are enough to protect themselves with the help of elementalization. But the most crucial thing about Yi Lin's actions was actually his third purpose. I want Gote 13 and 7 warlords of the sea to truly appear in the sight of the ninja world. This is his third purpose. After all, the third ninja world war should inevitably end early, and his next actions must not be as smooth as during the war. He had already designed Gote 13 and 7 warlords of the sea, the two wedges that messed up the situation in the ninja world, and naturally it was time to reveal them. Therefore, he also took great pains to design the appearance of both sides. But there is still a problem. That is the current popularity of Gote 13 and 7 warlords of the sea in the ninja world. In fact, the gap is quite huge. The 7 warlords of the sea almost destroyed Kusanagi village and took away the organization of One Tail. On the other hand, in Gote 13, there was only one incident in the early stage of snatching the body of third Raikage, and only Rock Shinobi was involved in the whole process. The popularity gap between the two sides is too large, which naturally does not meet Yi Lin's expectations and future plans. So, naturally, he wanted to make a name for Gote 13. And now is definitely the right time. One blow, solve you. Armor covered with thunder, fourth Raikage said coldly. Lightning-style chakra mode, the most powerful secret technique passed down by Raikage in all dynasties. With the powerful lightning-style chakra covering the body, it continuously stimulates and strengthens the body's strength, speed, and neural responsibility, and can perform a unique special ninjutsu. After strengthening with this secret technique, his power is even comparable to that of a tailed beast. In fact, his father, third Raikage, used lightning-style chakra mode to fight 8 tails for 3 days and 3 nights. Advertisement. However, compared to his father, the young fourth Raikage is not very proficient in the master of lightning-style chakra mode. Not to mention the burden on the body to use is huge, and it consumes a lot of chakra. Therefore, he rarely uses this state on weekdays, but uses it as a killer. And now, knowing that it is impossible to solve the opponent's Raikage by conventional battles in a short period of time, he also decisively used this secret technique. Civ. At the same time as the words fell, Raikage's figure disappeared in place at the speed of almost instantaneous movement. After a while, a huge wind blew up, and his figure had come behind Zaraki Kenpachi. Its speed is almost comparable to the body flicker technique. Lightning-style ninjutsu heavy flow. With his elbows out, Raikage's heart was already filled with murderous intent. The next moment, his elbow hit Zaraki Kenpachi. Boom. The huge force instantly shattered the surrounding dozens of meters of ground, and countless gravels flew up as the ground sank. But, how can it be? Raikage looked at Zaraki Kenpachi in disbelief. At this moment, Zaraki Kenpachi, who was directly hit by the elbow, didn't move at all. What's more terrifying is that Raikage still clearly felt an illusion. The huge pressure that was many times stronger than before came from the opponent. No. Not an illusion. But soon, Raikage was sure it wasn't an illusion. Because he saw at this moment that golden chi rose from Zaraki Kenpachi's body as if it were a real existence. It's not fake, it's real. And Zaraki Kenpachi, who was wrapped in Reiatsu, turned around slowly just now. It was only then that Raikage noticed that the blindfold that had originally covered his right eye had been removed. He held the eye patch lightly on his right hand, and Raikage could clearly see the mouth-like thing on the eye patch. Excuse me. At the same time, he also heard the voice of Zaraki Kenpachi. This thing is a gadget developed by the Technical Development Bureau of the 12th Division. It can suppress my power and make me enjoy fighting more. Advertisement. As the words fell, Zaraki Kenpachi also slowly threw the blindfold on the ground. But since you are so strong, there is no need for me to continue suppressing. So the surging Reiatsu soared into the sky at this moment, blowing up the clouds in the sky. Reiatsu. Liberation. And in the golden Reiatsu, a hideous skull slowly appeared. Suppressing power. Enjoy fighting. What a joke. Fourth Raikage certainly couldn't tolerate this kind of humiliating remarks from the other side. But before he could move on, Zaraki Kenpachi's blade was already slashed. And its speed is far more than twice as fast as before. Laugh. Even in lightning-style chakra mode, the neural speed response has reached ultimate. Fourth Raikage can only be resisted by the armor in his hand. But, boom. Even in lightning-style chakra mode, he still felt a force stronger than him coming from the end of the opponent's blade. Crack. After a while, the extremely sturdy, thunder armor, made by Cloud Shinobi village craftsman in his hand was also shattered. Laugh. The blade mercilessly pierced through the lightning-style chakra, known as the strongest escape, and directly chopped off a ferocious wound on one of Raikage's arms. At the same time, Raikage himself was also shot up, and his body knocked down a row of trees around him before he could stop. Before he could even look at his wound, the figure of Zaraki Kenpachi attacked right after him. Master I. How is this possible? Even that lightning-style chakra mode. And seeing this scene, Cloud Shinobi's elite ninjas also widened their eyes in disbelief. Compared with the previous fight, after both sides have liberated their forces, the situation on the battlefield has become very clear. It's just that they really can't imagine. Raikage can be held down by someone with sheer power and speed while using lightning-style chakra mode. Chapter 40 The Lord of Jingling Court. Spirit King. New book for collection. On the other side of the battlefield, Sarutobi Hiizaki, who was fighting against Byakuya Kuchiki, also naturally noticed the changes in the battlefield on Raikage's side. After taking off the Hokage, he was wearing the armor that he never left. And in his hand, the black stick transformed by his summoning beast, Ape Demon, is already in his hand. What a terrible guy. Sarutobi Hiizaki sighed in his heart as he watched Raikage being beaten by Zaraki Kenpachi almost in all directions. As a shadow of the older generation, Sarutobi Hiizaki is naturally aware of the power of lightning-style chakra mode. Although 4th Raikage is still young, its strength is not as strong as 3rd generation, but shadow is shadow after all. Being suppressed in this state is enough to show the strength of the captain named Zaraki Kenpachi. And more importantly, Sarutobi Hiizaki knew that he had no chance to help each other. Because his opponent is also a captain. Sure enough, as the rumors say, extremely exquisite swordsmanship. Looking at Byakuya Kuchiki holding a tachi in front of him, and then looking at the battle armor that was scratched on his shoulders, Sarutobi Hiizaki said softly. But judging from the strength shown by your teammates, you should have reservations. He looked at Byakuya Kuchiki solemnly, and the words were both an inquiry and a statement. Chopping, Kido and Reiatsu, the 3 arts of Shinigami. But beyond Sarutobi Hiizaki's expectations, Byakuya Kuchiki explained it to him with great interest. Zaraki's Reiatsu is naturally powerful, and can even take physical form. Comparatively, I'm better at chopping and Kido. And after hearing Byakuya Kuchiki's words, Sarutobi Hiizaki was also silent. But in his eyes, the sharp light is constantly shining. Sure enough, as Minato said, calling himself Shinigami. Reiatsu should be referring to the golden aura on the man named Zaraki Kenpachi. Is it something like chakra? As for Kido, It should be the ninjutsu he used before that he has never seen and doesn't need a seal. He kept analyzing in his heart, almost letting him see the embryonic form of a huge force. Unlike Ninja Village, these organizations that have been passed down from ancient times probably have a special way of practice similar to Mount Myoboku. But soon, Sarutobi Hiizaki stopped thinking. Because in front of him, Byakuya Kuchiki had raised the Senbon Sakura in his hand in a completely different posture. Without any verbal explanation, Sarutobi Hiizaki could instinctively feel the change in the opponent's momentum. Advertisement. Zaraki has freed Reiatsu, so I won't continue playing with you. Byakuya Kuchiki spoke in a low voice. Bankai. So, as Byakuya Kuchiki slowly said these two words of unknown meaning, the Zanpakuto in his hand also began to burst into a huge Reiatsu. That huge pressure even made the black stick in the hands of Sarutobi Hiizaki, who was transformed by the ape demon, to remind him, Sarutobi, that guy's weapon, is very strange. Well, I know. Sarutobi Hiizaki nodded, the muscles all over his body tensed. Obviously, the other party is going to go all out. But it is also at this time. Yep. Sarutobi Hiizaki saw that Byakuya Kuchiki's movements were suddenly very obvious. Especially the calm expression that has almost never changed significantly since it appeared, and at this time, there has been an extremely obvious change. What happened? Sarutobi Hiizaki couldn't help but have a huge doubt in his heart. And the next moment, he saw Byakuya Kuchiki not far behind. The sky began to shatter. Silently, the cracks spread over the surrounding space. Then, a dark black hole appeared above the sky. It's that time-space ninjutsu. And as someone who had seen the black hole take Byakuya Kuchiki away with his own eyes, Dong Dead, among the elite of rock shinobi, immediately recognized the black hole. But in the next moment, he realized that something was obviously wrong. Previously on the rock shinobi battlefield, when Byakuya Kuchiki took the body of third Raikage, the pitch-black black hole was just black, and its size was not too big. But now, it seems that the size of this black hole has more than doubled because of the two people to be taken away. And because of the expansion of the hole, everyone can clearly see the passageway in the black hole with 7 colors. In the passage, it is faintly visible that countless strange lines are constantly flickering on and off. At the end of the passage, you can see a huge city. Countless tall white walls divide the city into one, and the clouds and spherical protective cover completely wrap the entire city in it. The topography of the city gradually increases from the edge to the center, and in the very center of the city there is a huge palace. The palace is ancient and majestic, and in the center of the palace are countless figures standing in Gotei 13 uniforms. Advertisement. Even with just such a glimpse, the ninjas of the 3 major ninja villages can almost instantly understand where the other end of the black hole is. That's what Enel mentioned earlier, where Gotei 13 guards. Jingling. Sarutobi Hiizaki stared intently at the city, as if trying to jot down any special signs. But the next moment, Byakuya Kuchiki, Zaraki Kenpachi, returned to Jingling Court immediately. At the other end of the passage, a calm voice slowly came out. And the meaning of his words was clearly ordering Zaraki Kenpachi and Byakuya Kuchiki. So the next moment, I saw Zaraki Kenpachi, who had been fighting with Raikage in full swing, had a look on his face when he heard this voice. Then, he actually stopped fighting Raikage, and immediately a Shunpo returned to Byakuya Kuchiki's side. Quote. After seeing this scene, Raikage was simply stunned. As someone who has fought Zaraki Kenpachi, he has almost established Zaraki Kenpachi's character, a ruthless fighting maniac, a beast with an instinctive desire to kill. But this kind of guy actually stopped his instinct to fight because of the other party's fluttering words. Not just Raikage, even Tsuchikage and Namikaze Minato have discovered something obviously wrong at this time. Because the first time that sound came, Enel and Crocodile actually stopped fighting against their opponents. The two of them looked at the passage together, and their expressions became solemn and serious. These two lawless guys are actually worried about something. So the curiosity and solemnity in the hearts of Three Shadows and Namikaze Minato also reached the ultimate. Just one sentence. With just one sentence, the two captains of Gotei 13 can be obedient. Just one sentence can make the 7 warlords of the sea who dare to go to Sand Shinobi to snatch the tailed beast so solemnly. The being who spoke. Who is it? But soon, they got the answer. Because right in front of them, Zaraki Kenpachi and Byakuya Kuchiki bowed slightly to the presence at the other end of the passage. Whether it was the arrogant Byakuya Kuchiki or the beast-like Zaraki Kenpachi, the expressions flashed in awe. Yes, His Majesty the Spirit King. Chapter 41. The amount of information is too large, the Three Shadows can't stand it. New book for collection. Spirit King, this is the first name that all the ninjas present heard. But there is no doubt that just such a name, coupled with the attitude of Byakuya Kuchiki, two people is enough to say it all. Gotei 13 should refer to the guardian who guards the Jingling court. So, King Ling, is that the king of Jingling? Thinking of this, Senkage and Namikaze Minato were also extremely vigilant. Of course, it does not mean that the king of a power is necessarily the strongest. For example, the nominally highest status of the 5 countries is naturally the daimyo. But in fact, it is the shadow of the 5 great ninja villages that represents the force. But obviously, the existence called the Spirit King was not included. This can also be seen from the apparently solemn and worried expressions of the duo of 7 warlords of the sea. Your Majesty the Spirit King, the 2 of the 7 warlords of the sea took our goal this time. In fact, the next words from Byakuya Kuchiki pointed the finger directly at the duo of 7 warlords of the sea. Oh, the guys from world government also got involved. At the end of the passage, the mysterious Spirit King spoke in waves. But everyone seems to be able to sense the hidden danger in the other party's words. But at the same time, the hearts of the ninjas who were present also instantly rose to the mentality of watching a good show. After all, in their opinion, with the strength and style shown before by Enel and Crocodile, they will definitely not hand over their possessions honestly. Once the two sides go to war, they can not only see who the mysterious Spirit King is, but also have a deeper understanding of the inside of the two organizations. But they haven't even had time to think about it. Spirit King, it's just a small chess piece. We, the world government, have no intention of going to war with you Shinigami. You, who are in charge of 10,000 years of Jingling court, won't be so stingy. As far as we know, the imaginary race of Hueco Mundo is about to return, and it makes no sense for you to clash with us at this time. Let them solve the matters of the little ones themselves next time. You do it yourself, it's not appropriate. 5 old voices suddenly came. Buzz. At the same time, very similar to the previous black hole, another void also appeared behind Enel and Crocodile at this time. And in this black hole, you can see a white city standing on a crimson continent. As far as the eye can see, it can be faintly seen that this crimson continent seems to exist in the center of the endless Wangyang Sea. From Enel Crocodile's suddenly relaxed expression, all ninjas could roughly guess the identity of each other. Advertisement. There are other people behind the 7 warlords of the sea. The expressions of Reikage and Tsuchikage, who had never had any sources until now, became more and more ugly. This was the first time they knew of such a thing. Judging from the 2 members of 7 warlords of the sea, it is not difficult for them to guess how huge the forces behind each other are. Not to mention the rest, just the endless Wangyang Sea and the Crimson Continent, they have no source of information at all. That sea, is that the grand line that Shanyi said. However, unlike these two, Namikaze Minato and Sarutobi Hiizaki looked at each other at this time, with both understanding and endless doubts in their eyes. Without a doubt, that sea should be the grand line that my wife Zenitsu mentioned earlier. But correspondingly, who are the 5 voices? What do they mean by world government? And then, the Spirit King took charge of the 10,000 years of the Jingling court. Doesn't it mean that the existence of this Spirit King is even older than the legendary sage of 6 paths? In addition, the name of the ghost family clearly appeared in the other party's words, but what is Hueco Mundo? It's like I just figured out how to go on a road, but after walking on this road, I immediately found that there are countless branch routes hidden behind this road, and the huge amount of information made Sarutobi Hiizaki such a wily character feel a moment of dizziness. But at the same time, he already understood in his heart. What they're hearing now that they've never heard of and don't understand at all, is the truth of this world. Ninja world, maybe it's just the tip of the iceberg in this world. Single quote. It's not just Sarutobi Hiizaki's idea, it's the idea that the other 2 shadows have arisen together at this time. But at the same time, the communication between the mysterious 5 voices and the Spirit King continued. And Sanying immediately listened quietly. After hearing the 5 old voices, the Spirit King responded in a cold voice. 5 elders, compared to the Hueco Mundo thing, you should pay more attention to yourselves. The 4 emperors of the Grand Line are not easy to deal with. However, after scolding the other party, Ling Wangzan even said directly, but you are right, the little guy's affairs, just let them solve it themselves. The words fell, and the Spirit King seemed to have no intention of continuing to talk. After hearing the decision made by the Spirit King, Byakuya Kuchiki and Zaraki Kenpachi did not comment. They didn't even say a single extra word, and immediately stepped into the passage behind them. At the same time, Enel and Crocodile also walked towards the passage behind them. Obviously, after the people behind both sides have made a decision, they are also eager to leave this place of right and wrong. Don't want to go. But seeing this scene, Reikage burst out. Dread comes to fear, and surprise comes to astonishment. But the body of his father Third Reikage is still in the other's hands, of course he can't let the other party leave like this. Advertisement. So I saw that he didn't care about his injury at all, and rushed towards the other party directly. The right hand is held high, and the lightning-style chakra all over the body is condensed in the hand. Reikage slashed out with his knife, and a huge lightning flashed along with it. What he performed was the most offensive strike in lightning-style ninjutsu. Lateral bolt of pain. Chop. Not just Reikage, the other 2 shadows and Namikaze Minato also shot at the same time. Whether it was the Spirit King or the 5 people known as the 5 elders, from the time they appeared to the moment they tried to leave, they just communicated with each other and completely ignored them. In their view, this is undoubtedly the other side's contempt for these shadows. For this, even Sarutobi Hiizaki and Namikaze Minato, who knew each other's identity, could not accept it. What they symbolize is the ninja village behind them, and ninja village, not to be despised. Tsuchikage put his hands together slightly, and from his hands, the white light that was enough to destroy everything went towards Enel. Dust escape, the realm stripping technique. After the blood is eliminated, the dust escape, the precious escape technique that only third Tsuchikage possesses in the ninja world today. At the same time, Sarutobi Hiizaki separated out 4 shadow clones, and then his body and 4 shadow clones used 5 different escape techniques at the same time. This is also the secret technique that Grandmaster can perform with all the ninjutsu classes. 5 escapes Dalien playing technique. The strongest offensive of the 3 shadows radiated enormous power towards the 2 passages respectively. To put it bluntly, even the strongest defensive barrier in the ninja world today will be shattered under the full force of the 3 shadows. But the next moment, Sanying was stunned. Because whether it is Raikage's lateral bolt of pain, Chop, Onogi's dust escape, or Sarutobi Hiizaki's 5 escape Dalien bombs, they all dissipated and disappeared as they approached those 2 passages. Just like a water drop trying to swing a knife at the sea, or a star trying to attack the sky, their ninjutsu is like a mud cow entering the sea, without even the slightest wave. After a while, the figures of the 4 of them disappeared without a trace. So with the passage closed, the entire battlefield was silent. Of course, the 3 shadows didn't know that Yi Lin's puppet was in an absolutely invincible state when it was retrieved from a distance, and any attack would have no effect. From their point of view, the reason why their ninjutsu was eliminated was undoubtedly because the beings at the other end of the tunnel took action. And such an understatement can make their full-scale offensive invisible. 5 Elders, and the Spirit King. Their hearts were extremely heavy at this time. Chapter 42, The entire ninja world must unite. New book for collection. The results of the 3 ninja villages. Peace talks quickly spread throughout the ninja world, and the peace agreement signed by the 3 parties also symbolized the official end of the Third Ninja World War. And for this matter, most of the ordinary people in the ninja world are naturally cheering. But among the slightly better informed shinobi villages, at this time, none of the shinobi villages could truly calm down and celebrate the end of the war. Especially within the 3 major ninja villages, the 3 shadows convened all the high-level officials in the village for a protracted meeting as soon as they returned to their village. Just like in the leaves at this time, Sarutobi Hiizaki sat on the main seat with a frighteningly heavy expression. On the conference board behind him, a lot of information was densely written. What we do know about the 7 warlords of the sea is that they are in a special area called the Grand Line. Their headquarters is located at the top of a red continent in that sea area, and it is a pure white city. The real name of its organization seems to be World Government, and it is led by suspected 5 people, known as 5 Elders. As for the 7 warlords of the sea, it is suspected to be a special combat division similar to Anbu. There should be 7 people. The 2 identified are Thor, Enel and Sand Crocodile. It was also the 2 of them who seemed to have fought with Uchiha Madara, who should have been dead for many years, not long ago, and killed Uchiha Madara and took his body. As for their purpose, it's unknown. At this time, Sarutobi Hiizaki was pointing at this information and analyzing it continuously. According to current estimates, its organization is probably extremely powerful. Having said that, he also shook his head. According to the strength shown by the opponent now, it is not just extremely powerful. 7 warlords of the sea alone should be 7 cage-level powerhouses. In other words, even if there are no other powerhouses within the opponent, this organization is already comparable to the strongest Konoha in the 5 great ninja villages in terms of top combat power. What's more, Sarutobi Hiizaki didn't believe that there were only 7 people like 7 warlords of the sea. Not to mention the others, the people called 5 elders are most likely to be above cage level. Namikaze Minato on the side also added, but the good news is that the relationship between Gote 13 who appeared before and them is not friendly, and they seem to have their own enemies in the Grand Line, called 4 Emperors. Advertisement. 4 Emperors, this title alone, they can roughly know that the number should be 4. Yep, Sarutobi Hiizaki nodded, that was the only good news. And then, he continued to talk about Gote 13. As for Gote 13, there will be more news. It is now known that the area where they are located is called Jingling Court. The leader of Jingling Court is called the Spirit King, and Gote 13 is the organization that guards Jingling Court. It should have the 13th Division, and the 6th Division Captain Byakuya Kuchiki and the 11th Division Captain Zaraki Kenpachi have been confirmed as cage level. In addition, we also learned that its 12th Division seems to be a division in charge of technical development. In this case, maybe not every captain is cage level. The appearance of Jingling is a white city, surrounded by things that are suspected of enchantment. Similar to the world government, they also seem to have their own enemies, and their enemies come from an area called Haweko Mundo. As a village of ninjas, it is common sense to collect information and extract useful information, so Sarutobi Hiizaki's words at this time are reasonable. Whether it was the appearance of Enel before, and the absolute, he said, or the battle and result that followed, he hardly missed all the details. But it's one thing to sound organized, and quite another to actually come up with a solution. So even Orochimaru, who was present at this time, are smart people like Konoha's 2 advisors. Or a wily character like Danzo, at this time, they are all dumbfounded. Because the amount of information in these words is so great that they have never heard even a single word before. At this time, they only felt a chill in their hearts. To be honest, even though they had received superficial information from Namikaze Minato, they did not expect it to be this level. Uchiha Madara recreates the ninja world, and it recreates it as a corpse. 2 members of 7 warlords of the sea killed Uchiha Madara, while 2 captains of Gote 13 were able to hold down Raikage and Hokage. Not to mention the mysterious and unpredictable that followed, the Spirit Kings who are said to have lived for more than 10,000 years, and the 5 elders who have an equal dialogue with the Spirit Kings. Any of this information is unbelievable. But what is even more exaggerated is that this information has also been affirmed by the shadows of the 3 major ninja villages and all the elite ninjas present at the time. Advertisement. And as Konoha's side, they know another news. That said, 7 warlords of the sea and Gote 13 aren't all. Similar to them, there are even Ghost Clan and Ghost Killing Team. Quote. Sarutobi, what do you think? After a long silence, even Danzo looked at Sarutobi Hiizaki very seriously. He is extremely ambitious, but he also knows that Sarutobi Hiizaki is better at making decisions when faced with this kind of thing. But to his surprise, Sarutobi Hiizaki was silent at this time. After being silent for a long time, he slowly said the first sentence. They're bound to show up again. And their purpose now seems to be to collect the corpses of the strong. As for the specific reason, it is impossible to judge. Neither Gote 13 nor the 7 warlords of the sea have concealed their purpose in front of Shinobu village, so Sarutobi Hiizaki naturally knows this. And there's really only one thing we can do. We will fully investigate the details of Jingling and Grand Line. Once I find out their location, I will personally go to other shadows to negotiate. This is not just a matter of our Konoha family. When Sarutobi Hiizaki said this, he couldn't help but sigh. The Third Ninja War has ended, and on the surface it seems that the whole ninja world has returned to peace. But only those in the know that the entire ninja world is now falling into an unprecedented huge shadow. And the source of the huge shadow that almost enveloped the ninja world was those mysterious names. The King of Ghosts, Ellen, the Lord of the Ghost Killing Squad, the 5 Elders of World Government, and the Ling King of Jingling Court. At that time, the ninja world must unite before it is possible to fight against those guys. P.S. There is so much information that I can't finish a chapter, and I don't want to write more words like this, so I slowly write the plot of the meeting in the later plot. In short, readers should not take what Sarutobi Hiizaki said in this chapter as the whole of the meeting, but as a small part of the meeting. Asterisk. Chapter 43 Ashura's Body. New book for collection. At the same time, Yi Linye, who was chanted by Third Hokage as the biggest shadow in the ninja world, did not know what was going on inside Konoha at all. So, they all started to act. He just listened to Wugu's report in front of him, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Yes, after the shadows of the 3 major ninja villages have returned to the village, they have dispatched their respective deployment ninjas to investigate the location of Jingling and the Grand Line. Father, as the leader of Kusanagi village, has also been invited by Tsuchikage to Rock Shinobi village to discuss related matters. Wugu whispered back the trend that was surging secretly in the ninja world now. Except for Kirin, who has been relatively independent, still has no action, the other 2 major shinobi villages and Sand Shinobi who got the news almost all made similar judgments as Konoha. They all sent their own Anbu ninjas to investigate the location of Jingling and the Grand Line. This is also enough to see that they attach great importance to the 2 organizations, Gote 13 and 7 Warlords of the Sea, which are almost no smaller than the 5 great ninja villages. The investigation naturally requires all aspects, so the Kusanagi village, which had been attacked by Enel before, naturally also asked. And Wu Wei, as a survivor who had directly fought with Enel, was naturally invited by Rock Shinobi to share the information. It is worth mentioning that Sand Shinobi exists as such an advisor to Jonin who survived the first battle at Jisun-ji Temple, whose name is Hanzo. So even Yi Lin had to shake his head and sigh after hearing these words. Even the referee is his person, how can these ninja villages fight him? On the other hand, he is also very satisfied with the development of the current situation. It seems that the colorful skin of this teleportation channel is very useful. Yi Lin had to sigh that the dazzling skin of the teleportation channel he had extracted before was really useful. It is precisely because of the function of this custom teleportation channel that he completed this huge flick. If I hadn't witnessed the shocking scenes of Red Line, Jingling, and Grand Line with my own eyes, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been fooled into this virtue by the ingenuity of 3 shadows. However, after a brief sigh, Yi Lin then calmed down again. Let Wugu leave the secret room first, and then he quietly thought about it. There is no doubt that his purpose has been initially achieved. If in the past, a strong elite Jonin from a ninja village died suddenly or his body was taken away, then this ninja village would definitely do its best to investigate any suspicious person in the ninja world. But now, if something like that happens, everyone will just think it's Gote 13 and the 7 warlords of the sea. And where those corpses went, there is no room for consideration. Advertisement. It must have been taken to Jingling or Grand Line. As for Jingling and Grand Line, Yi Lin can only say that you can look for it, and if you can find it, he will lose. It can be said that from now on, the general context he will lay in the ninja world has been completed. No matter the background, the ghost of the moon vacancy is already perfect enough. And the more important thing is that after his intervention, the plot of the whole world is now a mess. Although Obito was captured, but he didn't experience Madara's upbringing and Lin's death, it was impossible to say whether he would be blackened. The Third Ninja World War ended ahead of schedule, and the various follow-up effects are even more difficult to explain. In other words, I don't need to follow the plot to take advantage of it, but I need to take the initiative to find opportunities to shoot. Between whispering, Yi Lin also shook his head. Even with his knowledge of the various details of the world's plots, it is still a bit brain-burning to calculate such a big move. Let's clean up the spoils this time first. With a chuckle, Yi Lin started to count his spoils. And I have to say, this time his harvest is as huge as ever. Points. 2,500 points, a lot. The first is in terms of points. Although it is very small compared to the previous 5,000 points in the box of bliss, Yi Lin is already extremely satisfied. Because he knew that this time, although he manipulated the puppet to make a lot of big troubles, he didn't really defeat several opponents. To say the real defeat, in fact, is only a Uchiha Madara. From this point of view, this point is actually a lot. One person is worth the points of an army of rock shinobi. This is still an incomplete form, as expected of Madara. Yi Lin sighed, and then he stopped looking at the points part. Because he knew that the bulk of his real gain this time was actually in the proficiency of the puppet. The Byakuya Kuchiki puppet jumped directly from the original 14% to 34% proficiency, which has unlocked Bankai. The Zaraki Kenpachi puppet has reached 21% proficiency and is very close to unlocking Kendo. Crocodile and Enel are 28% and 69% proficiency respectively, and Enel is not far from 100% fruit ability awakening. Advertisement. Seeing the skyrocketing data of puppet proficiency, Yi Lin also smiled. All along, the problem of proficiency has caused him more headaches than the problem of points. Fighting with the same level powerhouse increases proficiency the fastest, but where is the cage level powerhouse so easy to find? This is also the reason why he has been reluctant to use a prop in his hand that can directly increase the puppet's proficiency. But this time he was lucky. First Madara, then Three Shadows and Namikaze Minato, the continuous battles made almost all the puppets' proficiency increase a great share. In particular, Byakuya Kuchiki directly broke through the 30% mark and completed the unlocking of Bankai. To put it bluntly, this increase in proficiency is actually far more important to Yi Lin than points. Among the S-rank puppets, the one with the lowest proficiency is the Black Death Mo puppet. I have to find a way to give them the full proficiency. After muttering in a low voice, Yi Lin, who was quite satisfied with his proficiency, quickly turned his attention to his final harvest. He raised his hand slightly and summoned the crocodile puppet. At this time, behind Crocodile, Madara's body was still wrapped in sand. The system extracts puppet material from him. Looking at Madara's body, Yi Lin said softly. And in his words, it is rare to have some excitement. The reason is also very simple, because Madara, in his judgment, should be an SS-level powerhouse beyond cage level. This can also be felt from previous battles. Madara is really the only one who can completely suppress Yi Lin's puppet in more than one pair. If it weren't for the fact that he was dying, Rinnegan wasn't on him, and he mistook Crocodile for one-tailed Jinchuriki and other various reasons, Yi Lin didn't actually have the confidence to kill him. In other words, the material extracted from Madara this time is likely to contain SS-level materials. Open black lens bracket. Start extracting puppet material, close black lens bracket. It was also when Yi Lin was uneasy in his heart that the extraction of the system had already begun. Then, congratulations to host, for obtaining the S+ grade puppet material, Ashura. Congratulations to host, get the S-level puppet material, Flame Enhancement. Chapter 44 Senju Hashirama's Physique. I am not satisfied. New book for collection. 2 pieces. Hearing the result given by the ear system, Yi Lin was a little confused. He didn't expect at all that 2 pieces of puppet material above S rank could be extracted from Uchiha Madara's body. But for this, Yi Lin was not happy at all. Because among the 2 puppet materials, there is no SS-level puppet material he wanted. It doesn't matter if the flame is strengthened. Yi Lin couldn't help frowning. He can accept flame enhancement. After all, the Uchiha family is best at fire style, and Madara is the best among them. Judging from the previous battles, the B-level fire style fire extinguisher released by Uchiha Madara has the same power as S-level ninjutsu, which also shows that the opponent has a deep accomplishment in fire style ninjutsu, and draws an S-level flame. Reinforcement is nothing. But, what the hell is this Ashura body? Yi Lin felt that the system was clearly telling him a joke. What about Rinnegan? How is it such a thing? He also knows who Ashura is, and this is related to a secret in the ninja world. It should be noted that the ancestor of the ninja world was Otsutsugi Kagaya, who ate the fruit of the divine tree 10 tails and became the origin of all chakra. Otsutsugi Kagaya's 2 sons, Sage of 6 Paths Otsutsugi Hagoromo and her younger brother Otsutsugi Hamura, were conceived directly by her with the help of chakra. So the 2 sons also inherited her power, one with Rinnegan and one with Tenseigan. However, in the next generation that followed, the blood vessels were obviously degraded. The two sons of Sage of Six Paths are the products of typical deterioration. His eldest son, Indra, inherited the pupil technique and talent, but instead of awakening Rinnegan, he awakened Sharingan. The second son Ashura inherited chakra and vitality, but also failed to inherit Rinnegan. The tempers and dispositions of the two sides are completely opposite, so there is a gap gradually and lead the ninja under his command to fight. Advertisement. Even after both parties died, their obsession still did not dissipate, but continued to reincarnate and continue to fight. So the history of the entire ninja world for so many years is actually a story of two sons of Sage of Six Paths who are constantly reincarnated and constantly fighting. But the point is, Uchiha Madara is not the reincarnation of Ashura, but the reincarnation of Indra. Extracting Ashura's body from Uchiha Madara. Is that reasonable? Yi Lin, who was madly complaining in his heart, also suddenly stopped. Not right. Then, he suddenly realized that there seemed to be something wrong with his thinking. He actually forgot a very crucial fact. That's why Madara's Rinnegan awakened. It seems that he injected Senju Hashirama's cells and flesh into his body after the battle in the Valley of the End. It is precisely because he, who was Indra's reincarnation, injected the cells of Senju Hashirama, who was Ashura's reincarnation, that the Rinnegan belonging to the Sage of Six Paths was reanimated. So that's what happened. So Yi Lin immediately wanted to understand everything. No wonder he would draw two puppet materials in this draw, and 9 times out of 10, it was because of Madara's special circumstances. After all, Madara is an SS-level powerhouse, so the system naturally has to extract the SS-level puppet material from him. But since his Rinnegan is not on him now, the system extracted the Ashura body, contained in the Senju Hashirama cells on him. But you must know that Ashura's body and Indra's eyes can activate Rinnegan. In terms of grade, Ashura's body is not an SS-level puppet material. Therefore, in order to compensate him, the system continued to extract the S-level, flame enhancement. But soon, Yi Lin's brows furrowed. The body of Ashura, this is not easy to handle. He was a little troubled at this time. Although he doesn't know the specific effect of Ashura's body, he can also see some meaning from Senju Hashirama's body. This first Hokage is called the God of Ninjas, largely because of his body that is almost pervert. Advertisement. The near unsolvable vitality allows him to recover in an instant no matter what injury he suffers, as long as it is not an instant kill. At the same time, this physique comes with an almost inexhaustible supply of chakra. It can be said that it is with this special physique that Senju Hashirama can suppress the entire ninja world with the power of one person. But Yi Lin is thinking about, is it worth using the eternal enhancement ticket for the body of Ashura? Yi Lin frowned and fell into deep thought. Yi Lin has been cherishing it ever since he got the eternal enhancement voucher, an SSSS level item that can directly strengthen himself. So far, he has never used this prop. And according to his original plan, 9 times out of 10 drawn from Madara is Rinnegan, so it is worth him to use the eternal enhancement coupon once. But the plan couldn't keep up with the changes. Now he did not successfully extract Rinnegan, but extracted the puppet material of Ashura's body. So he naturally needs to consider whether it is worth his first use of this prop. But after thinking for a long time, Yi Lin slowly shook his head. It's not worth it. If this sentence was heard by other people in the ninja world, their jaws would definitely drop on the spot. The physique that the god of ninjas is proud of, Yi Lin actually thinks it's not worth it. But in fact, this is exactly what Yi Lin thought in his heart. He doesn't know when he will draw SSS level items next time, so he doesn't want to waste the precious 3 chances. If Rinnegan is drawn, then he will definitely put it on himself without saying a word. But in comparison, the body of Ashura, which is only half a Rinnegan, is undoubtedly a little less interesting. System, I want to use the body of Ashura to assist in extracting puppets. Therefore, Yi Lin finally chose to give up his plan to use this puppet material. P.S. Let me tell you, the strengthening of the protagonist will be available soon, readers don't need to worry. It can be said in advance that there will be the ability of the Hokage world. After all, it is to write Hokage, but at the same time, it will also have the ability of other worlds, so as to be worthy of the identity of the protagonist. Chapter 45 SS Level Puppet, 4 Emperors Kaido. New book for collection. System, I want to use the body of Ashura to assist in extracting puppets. Although Yi Lin gave up using this puppet material on himself, he obviously would not be stingy with using it for extraction. Host uses S+ grade puppet material, Ashura's body, to assist extraction. The material has been consumed. Consumes 500 points and is drawing. But with the beginning of the puppet extraction, Yi Lin didn't have too many mood swings. According to previous experience, S-level materials have a high probability of extracting S-level puppets. Although the S+ level material is relatively unique, Yi Lin estimated that the puppet extracted should be only an S level. And the S-class puppet is not enough for Yi Lin to make him too excited. It's best to draw the puppets of the Gote 13 series, and to do a special achievement by the way. Single quote. He muttered in his heart. But at the next moment, when he heard the system's reply, his heart jumped suddenly. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, get the SS puppet, Kaido of the Beasts. Close black lens bracket. SS class. Yi Lin almost suspected that he had heard it wrong. But after a while, With the appearance of a new puppet, Yi Lin also realized that he heard it right. Because the sense of oppression from the moment it appeared was different from other puppets Yi Lin had seen before. That is a huge man whose height is completely beyond the scope of normal people. More than 6 meters in height, the man has a burly figure. The muscles on his body reflect arcs almost like steel, and his beard like a dragon's beard, and the fluffy black hair on his shawl are like the fur of a wild beast. There is a dragon scale tattoo on his left arm, a rope is tied around his waist, and he is holding a huge pitch black mace. Especially on the top of its head, there are 2 sharp horns like evil spirits. The huge sense of oppression has spread since he appeared, and his appearance is like a devil descending to the world. Open black lens bracket Kaido close black lens bracket. SS level puppet. Controlling proficiency. 0%. Open black lens bracket Pirate Series Puppet 4 Emperors Kaido of the Beasts close black lens bracket. Skills. Devil Fruit Fish and Fish Fruit Magical Beasts, ignores any poison, can operate in any extremely cold and hot environment, saves most physical attacks Conqueror's Hockey, Martial Skill Thunder 8 trigrams. Special Weapon. Mace, Beasts. Advertisement. Special Skill. Fruit Awakening 100% Control Proficiency unlocked. Open black lens bracket defect. None close black lens bracket. Puppet Charge. 100%. Puppet Recovery. Available. System. Why can S+ materials be extracted to SS level puppets? Looking at the familiar 4 emperors in front of him, Yi Lin asked in confusion. But as soon as the question was asked, Yi Lin reacted instantly. Does he seem a little silly? Because the system has never told him that using S-rank puppet materials will definitely draw S-rank puppets. Just like he had drawn 3 S-level eternal reinforcement tickets in a random lottery before, the puppet material is only an auxiliary drawing, not an absolute one. Of course, to put it bluntly, I finally became a European emperor once. Yi Lin, who had left Africa and entered Europe, felt a joy in his heart. Originally, he was a little depressed because he didn't get Rinnegan, but after getting this puppet, all the depression disappeared. I just mentioned the 4 emperors not long ago, and now the 4 emperors are really here. Looking at the Kaido puppet in front of him, Yi Lin also said with a smile. However, after thinking about it carefully, he also found that Kaido and the body of Ashura, the physique-enhancing puppet material, are completely suitable. The power of Ashura's body lies in its great resilience, stamina and strength, which happens to be synonymous with Kaido. After all, this 4 emperors is a pirate known as the strongest creature, known for his terrifying physique and powerful strength that is almost immortal. However, it is worth mentioning that although Kaido's SS-level puppet has the same fruit ability as other puppets from the pirate series, it does not have the defect of being afraid of water. The reason for this is because of the particularity of its fruit. A fish fruit phantom beast that transforms into a dragon that can soar in the sky. The peculiarity of this fruit almost makes Kaido a perfect creature without flaws. At the same time, the appearance of this puppet also officially symbolized that Yi Lin's power had reached a whole new level. SS-level puppet, that is, a puppet beyond cage level. Looking at the current ninja world, there are few opponents on the bright side. Even if you count the power hidden in the major ninja villages, this puppet is enough to gallop freely in the ninja world. And after Kaido, Yi Lin will naturally not forget another S-class puppet material. The same is true for flame enhancement, use it for me to assist extraction. Advertisement. Host uses the S-level material, flame enhancement, to assist in extraction, the material has been consumed. Points consume 500 points, being drawn. With Kaido in front, and the fact that there are quite a few S-rank puppets at hand, Yi Lin was naturally less nervous when he drew this time. If the flame is strengthened, there are too many characters. Single quote. He even guessed in his heart with great interest, with the role of flames, it is not necessary to look at the world too much. But then, the result extracted by the system was beyond Yi Lin's expectations. Congratulations to host, getting the S-rank puppet, Purgatory Kyojuro. The world of ghosts, the world of pirates, the world of Shinigami. I really have a bit of fate with these 3 worlds. Yi Lin couldn't help but laugh. It was clearly stated that the puppets that were drawn were from the heavens and the world, but when he came to him, how come they were basically puppets from these 3 worlds? Later, Yi Lin also turned his attention to the new puppet. Open black lens bracket Purgatory Kyojuro close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket S-class puppet close black lens bracket. Controlling proficiency. 0%. Ghost Killing Series Puppet Ghost Killing Team Yenju. Skills. Breath of Fire, Do-Chi. Open black lens bracket Special Equipment. Sunblade close black lens bracket. Special Skills. Transparent World can be unlocked when the control proficiency reaches 50%, Madara Pattern can be unlocked when the control proficiency reaches 100%. Open black lens bracket Defect. None close black lens bracket. Puppet Charge. 100%. Puppet Recovery. Available. Quote. Not exceeding Yi Lin's expectations, the puppet of Purgatory Kyojulong is not too exaggerated. Especially compared to the Black Death puppet from the same world, he is obviously a notch weaker. But this is also a matter of course. After all, the strength of Purgatory Xingjulong in the original book is probably similar to that of Yibazuo, the third of the top strings, and it is normal that he is no better than the one of the top strings. But Rao is so. He is also a real S-level puppet, and there is no big problem against an ordinary cage-level powerhouse. After all, it's an extra gain, and it's already very good to have it. Yi Lin, who had already obtained satisfactory results, was undoubtedly also very happy, so he took it back with satisfaction after taking a look at the situation of Purgatory Kyojuro. Asterisk. Chapter 46. The Land of Rain, Shao Organization. New book for collection. After counting his loot, Yi Lin did not directly consume the points for the lottery as usual. The reason is very simple. With 2,000 points reserved for backup, the amount of points he can consume now is really a bit small, only in the early 1000s. With such a few points, Yi Lin simply did not go to the lottery. Wait until you go back and save a little more points, isn't it beautiful to have a round of 20 consecutive draws? With this thought in mind, Yi Lin turned to continue thinking about the previous question that made him feel a little brain burning. That is his next action goal. Originally, this problem was really a headache for Yi Lin. But now, with the acquisition of Kaido, the SS-level puppet, Yi Lin, who has added a trump card in his hand, also has a rough plan. Looking at the map of the ninja world in front of him, Yi Lin's eyes stayed on one of them for a long time. It was a small country called the Land of Rain. Half a month later, in the Land of Rain. This is a country that has been in chaos since the Second Ninja War. It was invaded by Konoha during the Second Ninja World War. If Hanzo of the Salamander, the leader of Rain Shinobi Village, had not fought off the young Konoha Sannin at the time, Rain Shinobi Village would have been a thing of the past. But with the passage of time, this top ninja, who used to be called a demigod, has gradually entered a period of decline. The blood of his youth is no longer, and he has never controlled the chaotic national situation. Under such circumstances, a nascent organization has gradually become famous in recent years. And this organization is called Shao. But at this time, in the residence of Akatsuki's organization. I haven't seen you for so many years, and you are still so innocent. A dark figure stood under a big tree, and Obito, who had been taken away by him before, disappeared. At this time, in front of him, there was a young man standing. The boy looks about 16 years old and wears a forehead protector from Rain Shinobi Village. He has red hair and a thin body. But it is worth mentioning that he has a pair of very special eyes. Advertisement. It was a pair of dark purple eyes, and its pupils were like the rings of trees, which were surrounded by circles, exuding a very mysterious charm. And these eyes are exactly the reason why Ju came here. Don't you understand? The changes in the ninja world are irreversible. Jingling, Grand Line, the people behind the scenes who were hidden in the dark have stood in front of the stage. Leave with me, Nagato. Only your eyes have the possibility to change everything. Absolutely, Nagato said. Nagato, on the other hand, looked at the man in front of him vigilantly. Naturally, he knew Ju. In fact, when he and Yahiko Konan first established the Akatsuki organization, he never appeared and invited him. But Nagato rejected him, choosing to stay with Yahiko to save the country. And now, Ju's reappearance naturally made him extremely vigilant. As for Ju, he naturally didn't believe a word. Yahiko's ideal is about to be realized, and Hanzo-sama has decided to give us the diplomatic right to speak with the three neighboring countries. Nagato looked at him and said. He had been looking forward to this moment since he was young. After seeing people displaced by war, after seeing the chaos in this country for so many years, he was looking forward to peace. In order to bring this country that had fallen into darkness out of the darkness, he followed Yahiko to create the Akatsu organization. They work as mercenaries in Rain Shinobi Village, fighting to stop the war. They do things for the people of the village, no matter how big or small. Even not long ago, they lost a large number of members in order to prevent a group of rock shinobi from invading Rain Shinobi Village, and were almost wiped out. And so much danger and hard work finally paid off 3 days ago. Hanzo of the Salamander, the leader of Rain Shinobi Village, took the initiative to find someone to contact them, and was willing to hand over the diplomatic dialogue between the Rain country and the 3 surrounding countries. And the handover ceremony will be held today. And for Nagato, it's a sign that his and Yahiko's dreams are about to come true. In this case, he naturally wouldn't leave with Ju. Ridiculous simplicity. Advertisement. After hearing Nagato's words, he said it calmly. In his eyes, there was a trace of indifference and sneer. I'll come back to you soon. I believe that at that time, you should have been able to see the essence of this world. After the words fell, they definitely melted directly into the ground and disappeared. Nagato, on the other hand, looked at the place where Ju had left with vigilance, and after watching for a long time, he breathed a sigh of relief. But it is also at this time. Nagato, you are really such an important day to come to such a place. A voice came, and Nagato turned to look just in time to see Yahiko standing behind him in a black robe. The appointed time is coming, we have to leave quickly. Yahiko grinned at Nagato, who glanced behind Yahiko. What about the others? Conan went to the village last night to perform a mission and hasn't returned yet. I guess he won't be able to catch up. Yahiko shook his head. As for the others, I think Hanzo-sama is a long-established strong man in the ninja world. He is willing to give us the task of communicating with the surrounding countries, which is his trust in us. So, we should also repay each other with trust. This handover, it is enough for the two of us to pass. As he said that, Yahiko's eyes lit up with hope. Yep. After hearing Yahiko's words, Nagato nodded. So the two of them also triggered immediately, and soon came to the agreed place from the station of the Shao organization, in a valley between the Rain Shinobi village and the station of the Shao organization. However, just as they stepped into the valley at the same time, Su, 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 with the crisp sound of breaking wind, countless ninja figures appeared above the valley. Naturally, Yahiko and Nagato were immediately vigilant, but after a while, they discovered that the ninjas who surrounded them were all ninjas from Rain Shinobi village. And right at the top of the valley, the person they were going to meet this time, the demigod, Hanzo of the Salamander, was standing on a rock. In his hand, he was holding a girl. Conan. Chapter 47 Hanzo, you misunderstood, I'm not interested in you. New book for collection. Seeing Conan being held in his hands by Hanzo and held by his neck with Kue, Yahiko and Nagato naturally understood that they had been tricked. Hanzo of the Salamander, why? Yahiko looked at Hanzo. He didn't understand. He wanted to help Rain Shinobi village out of chaos and bring the country back to life. But why, Hanzo of the Salamander, the leader who guarded Rain Shinobi village for decades, would do this to him? In the face of Yahiko's questioning, Hanzo's eyes were a little complicated. To be honest, he actually already knew about the existence of the Shao organization. And over the years, he has acquiesced to the development of Shao's organization, and is looking forward to the other party's ability to save Rain Shinobi village from the quagmire. But not long ago, Danzo of Konoha found him. The Akatsuki organization in your country killed a group of ninjas in our Konoha roots, and their strength is no longer weak. However, the three leaders of this organization are disciples of one of our Konoha Sanins, Jiraiya, so it is not convenient for us to take action directly. But Hanzo, I have to warn you, their organization is growing too fast, and if it goes on like this, they will definitely replace you as the new leader of Rain Shinobi. Hanzo and Danzo have always cooperated on information in private, which is also the way of life of Shounen village. In Danzo's words, Hanzo's bottom line has undoubtedly been touched. He can tolerate the existence of other organizations in the land of Rain, but he cannot tolerate them threatening his rule. Secondly, the identity of the other party as Jiraiya's disciple makes Hanzo extremely afraid, because Konoha Sannin had a battle with him in the past. Although Konoha Sannin got the name Sannin from his mouth during that battle, Hanzo also killed many of their comrades in that battle. So Hanzo made a decision almost instantly and set up an ambush this time. But at this time, looking at the expressions of Yahiko and Nagato, the demigod of the ninja world suddenly spoke up. Your organization has threatened Rain Shinobi village, and I cannot tolerate your continued existence. Yahiko, you are Akatsuki's leader, I just want your life. As long as you die, I can let both Nagato and Conan go. When he said these words, Nagato and Yahiko were also taken aback. But at the same time, advertisement. Not far from the valley, there was a look of contempt in Danzo's eyes, who was hidden in a dark rock. Hanzo of the Salamander, the demigod, who stood at the top of the ninja world in the past, is still old after all. He was extremely disdainful of Hanzo's current actions. Compassion for the enemy is exactly how ninjas die. The fact that Hanzo can do such a thing proves that he is no longer a good ninja. But Danzo didn't stop Hanzo, because it was in his interest. It's better to let that kid go, so I can get his eyes more easily. Danzo's one eye looked at Nagato from a distance, and he seemed to be able to see those eyes through the other's hair. He knew exactly what those eyes were. The eyes of Sage of Six Paths, Rinnegan. As long as you get it, the position of Hokage is nothing more than a search. Even the so-called Jingling Ting in the world government. I will no longer be afraid of Konoha. Thinking of this, even Danzo's city could not help but feel excited. Since the appearance of 7 warlords of the sea, Gote 13 and other organizations, although he is still cold on the surface, in fact, he has the same anxiety in his heart. He has the ambition to become Hokage, so he will think with Hokage thinking. So he also thought about it, what should they do if Jinglingting is really an ancient and powerful place as they guessed, and the other party is hostile to Konoha? The answer is simple, there is no way. Even Konoha, who is known as the strongest ninja village, has nothing to deal with in the face of absolute power and ancient inheritance. For this, Danzo is naturally anxious. It is also in this situation that he is more eager to send his roots to look for clues about each other in the surrounding countries, and even pretend to infiltrate other shinobi villages. Not long ago, Danzo saw Nagato's eyes with his own eyes during a Rain Shinobi village operation at the root. It is precisely because of the existence of those eyes that Danzo finds Hanzo in private, and deceives Hanzo with some half-truths to let him take action against Akatsuki. Go ahead, Nagato. It was when Danzo was thinking in his heart that Yahiko and Nagato were already in a desperate situation. Yahiko looked at Nagato with a firm look. Advertisement. Quote. No, I can't, Yahiko. Nagato's hand holding kunai was trembling. Our ideals have to go on, we can't all die here. Yahiko said softly. While his words fell, it was a good show. It's really good luck to be able to see such a drama as soon as I got here. Accompanied by a voice full of sneers, a bolt of lightning suddenly rang between the valleys. After a flash of lightning, another figure with a thunder drum appeared in the valley. That guy is Enel. Today is not as good as it used to be, and Enel's name is not uncommon in the entire ninja world at this time. In particular, Danzo and Hanzo are well-known figures in the ninja world. At this time, it is natural to recognize the most successful and most famous members of the 7 warlords of the sea at a glance. Humph. Especially Hanzo of the Salamander, who had never been in contact with 7 warlords of the sea before, snorted coldly. The 7 warlords of the sea, are you here for me? As he spoke, his body was also full of vindictiveness. If you want to take the head of my Hanzo of the Salamander, you have to see if you have the ability. The purpose of 7 warlords of the sea's actions in the ninja world is not a big secret. At least most of the high-level ninja village know that they seem to be collecting the corpses of the strong, the tailed beasts and the rare treasures of the ninja world. Especially not long ago, they also took Uchiha Madara's body in front of the 3 shadows. So naturally, Hanzo of the Salamander acquiesced that the target of the other party should be him. But, your head, sorry, I think you may have misunderstood. Enel just glanced at Hanzo of the Salamander, then sneered, I have no interest in you. He chuckled lightly, then pointed slightly towards Nagato below. The target of my action this time is this kid. Chapter 48 4 Emperors, Kaido of the Beasts. New book for collection. As soon as Enel spoke, Hanzo's expression turned extremely ugly. He didn't believe that Enel was here for Nagato at all. What qualifications does such a kid have for 7 warlords of the sea to go out in person? From Hanzo's point of view, the other party was clearly trying to provoke him in this way. What made Hanzo even more uncomfortable was that he was actually really angry. Driven by anger, he didn't even think about the meaning of Enel's words. But compared to Hanzo, the faces of Nagato and Danzo, who were hiding in the dark, changed instantly when they heard Enel's words. Especially Danzo, who was originally determined to win Rinnegan, sank even more at this time. Because from Enel's words, the 7 warlords of the sea obviously also knew about Rinnegan's intelligence. To Danzo's heart, though, is that Enel didn't directly point out Rinnegan's existence. In other words, at least Hanzo doesn't know about Rinnegan's existence yet. As a result, a bolder idea suddenly appeared in Danzo's mind. He is the only one. Sand Crocodile and the other 7 warlords of the sea have not appeared. If Hanzo and Rain Shinobi make a move, and I look for opportunities to sneak attacks from the shadows, maybe I can keep him. Thinking of this, Danzo was immediately moved. If he can capture a 7 warlords of the sea at the same time as Rinnegan, then his harvest this time is really big. At this moment, Hanzo of the Salamander, who was already angry in his heart, also shot. He took off his famous weapon, Chain Scythe, directly from behind, and then raised his hand and threw it out. Rub. With the sonic boom of the sharp blade cutting through the air, the sickle formed afterimages in the air, slicing across Enel's body instantly. It's really troublesome. After evading with elementalization as always, Enel's figure stepped back slightly, but he looked at Hanzo of the Salamander as if, looking at a fool, I said it wasn't for you, isn't this kid and you an enemy? Quote. Humph. Hanzo naturally ignored it, swinging the chain on his arm pulled the scythe back. Advertisement. But just as he prepares to continue his attack on Enel. Despair. Despair. A crisp voice suddenly rang out. It was the sound of raindrops falling on the sickle. It's raining. Is it at such a time? Although the Rain Shinobi kept their original poses, such a thought subconsciously raised in their hearts. And the next moment, they heard a voice. I said why the 5 old ghosts of the 5 elders keep sending you here, so that's what happened. The voice came from the sky, dull and loud, like rolling thunder. So everyone looked up subconsciously, and then they saw an unforgettable scene. I saw above the sky, rolling dark clouds are sweeping surging. In the dark clouds, a huge figure is slowly emerging. The scales are blue, the graceful and slender dragon body is looming in the dark clouds, and the long dragon whiskers are constantly fluttering in the wind. With iron-spiked bracers on the front paws, the figure hovered and patrolled. Looking at that figure, everyone was naturally stunned. That's a dragon. Looking at the figure hovering in the sky, a hoarse voice came from someone in Rain Shinobi below. In this world, there are countless ninjutsus like Water Dragon Bomb and Dragon Flame Singing Technique, so naturally there are also legends of dragons. But in any case, legends are just legends after all. But now, they actually saw a dragon appear in front of them. Not to mention these Rain Shinobi who had never seen a big scene before, even Danzo and Hanzo had their eyes widened at this time. However, Danzo is still a deep city after all, so after a while, he has recovered some thinking ability from the surprise. Everyone heard what the dragon said just now. Advertisement. The other party's words clearly mentioned the 5 elders. So, quote exclamation mark quote. Danzo's eyes turned to Enel, and he had already noticed the dramatic change in Enel's expression. I saw Enel's expression, it was already extremely ugly at this time, and there was also fear in his eyes. Obviously, he knew the dragon that suddenly appeared. As this dragon the spirit king of Jingling court. Among the information Danzo has obtained, the only one who can make Enel show such an obvious look of fear so far is only the Spirit King, whose existence was confirmed not long ago. But after a while, Danzo's thoughts were interrupted again. Because right in front of everyone, the giant dragon in the sky hovered down, and then gradually turned into a tall giant. And seeing that the giant man's body and appearance did not look like a normal person at all, the Rain Shinobi's hearts were naturally a bit of surprise. Rinnegan. That's it. The giant glanced at Nagato briefly, and then seemed to see through all Nagato's secrets at a glance. Then, he looked directly at Enel. Leave yourself, Enel kid. This kid's eyes, lousy wants it. His words were extremely rude, and it could even be said that he did not save face at all. But to everyone's expectations, Enel did not take any drastic actions in the face of the merciless words of the giant. On the contrary, he just looked at the other party with a face full of fear. Kaido of the Beasts, one of the dignified four emperors, actually left the island of ghosts and came to this kind of place in person. Aren't you afraid that your old nest will be attacked? Between words, the identity of the giant was almost completely revealed. Four emperors, Kaido, beasts. Danzo's pupils could not help shrinking. According to the previous information, 7 warlords of the sea should be a subordinate organization under the world government. And the enemies of the world government seem to be the 4 beings known as the 4 emperors. So Danzo also understands that he is in real trouble this time. Chapter 49 Kaido's Hanzo. New book for collection. Sneak attack. The 3 major disasters under Laozi's command are all left on the island of ghosts, who can make a sneak attack. As for your world government, with those other guys around, do you have the guts to start a full-scale war with Laozi? The giant named Kaido didn't care about Enel's words at all, and the aura on his body became more and more dangerous. Quote. After hearing Kaido's words, Enel also narrowed his eyes, as if considering the pros and cons. But in fact, Yi Lin, who was controlling the Enel puppet and the Kaido puppet at the same time, was sighing in his heart. It's too coincidental. Yes, Yi Lin can only use the word Chao to describe the current situation. In fact, Yi Lin sent the puppet for the sake of Nagato's Rinnegan. After all, he knew that this thing must be SS-level material, and he knew where it was, so he naturally wanted to capture it. But at the same time, Yi Lin is also very clear. He can ignore Yahiko Konan next to Nagato, but he has to consider the existence of Ju. Rinnegan is a top priority for the revival of Otsutsugi Kagaya, as well as for Madara's plan. So no matter how much the plot changes, it will definitely be near Nagato. It is precisely because of Ju's existence that Yi Linkai specially sent a Kaido puppet to hide in the dark, in order to stand up for Enel. But he didn't expect that the action plan he made after thinking about it happened to hit the plot of Hanzo and Rain Shinobi forcing Yahiko to commit suicide. Therefore, the current situation has been formed after this back and forth. In this case, it is not realistic to force the absolute force out. If that's the case, then just. After thinking for a while, Yi Lin also made a secret judgment. As a result, everyone at the scene saw that Enel gave Kaido a deep look. Then, a space black hole opened directly behind him, and Enel stepped into it with one step, and then disappeared without a trace. And Danzo, who was secretly eating melons, was really stunned at this time. Facing the man named Kaido, Enel, who dared to raid Sand Shinobi alone, actually chose to give up his mission and leave. What a terrible meaning in the middle, Danzo naturally understands. After Enel left directly, Kaido also turned to look at Rain Shinobi and Hanzo in front of him. And you, too, get out. Laozi is in a good mood today, let you go. Between his words, he didn't pay attention to the huge number of Rain Shinobi. But what he said did not mean that Hanzo would really retire directly. Because after all, Hanzo of the Salamander has never actually fought the 7 warlords of the sea, and information about them only comes from other ninja villages. And don't forget, he is Hanzo of the Salamander. The top of the ninja world, regarded as the top ninja of the demigods. When he was at his peak, it was the second ninja war, and in that war, even the 5 shadows had to retreat when facing him. A guy who came out of nowhere and wanted to let him go with just one sentence. Even Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas, can't do such a thing. Not to mention, Rinnegan. Looking at Nagato and Yahiko, who were already in a state of confusion, Hanzo's eyes also flashed a hint of sharpness and desire. Advertisement. At this time, he also understood, it turned out that what Enel said before was true. He really came for this kid Nagato, because this kid has the eyes of the legendary sage of 6 paths. So, extremely arrogant, he raised his hand slightly. Nagato is the ninja of Rain Shinobi village, and his stuff, of course, belongs to Rain Shinobi. When the surrounding Rain Shinobi saw his action, they immediately began to seal and prepare for battle. Water style, fire style. However, the action of their seal was never even completed. Because at the moment when they formed the seal, Kaido's eyes suddenly stared. He didn't even make any extra moves, just stared lightly. But just staring at him like this, an inexplicable power began to spread out from him. Buzz. Buzz. That invisible power is like a spreading gust of wind, and it has completely shrouded the entire valley in an instant. So the next moment, the movements of Rain Shinobi stopped. Then, boom, boom. With the fall of the first rain shinobi, many other rain shinobi also fell to the ground. And without exception, they all rolled their eyes and foamed at the mouth, apparently completely losing consciousness. The only people standing in the audience were Yahiko, Nagato, Hanzo, Konan, and Hanzo. It is worth mentioning that Danzo, who was hiding in the dark at this time, was also in shock. What kind of ninjutsu? After all, he is far from the center of the battlefield, so the pressure on him is relatively light. But even from such a distance, he could feel the enormous pressure. Danzo had never seen this kind of ninjutsu, no knots, no chakra scent. Rather than calling it ninjutsu, Danzo felt more like an imposing manner. But in Danzo's opinion, it doesn't make sense, because if it's just momentum, how could so many rain shinobi lose their combat effectiveness in an instant? At the same time, Yi Lin, who was controlling the Kaido puppet, had to sigh again. In the future, the title of Qing Shaobing Artifact will be removed from Senbon Sakura. This Conqueror's Haki is used to clear the field, it is simply invincible. That's right, at this time, Kaido's move to kill many rain shinobi almost instantly is Conqueror's Haki from the world of pirates. This innate ability to belong to the king is unique even in the world of pirates. In front of the king, the weak are not qualified to stand, as this ability. Especially in the case of Rain Shinobi Village, it is very suitable for this ability. You know, Rain Shinobi Village itself is a weak ninja village, and it is purely relying on Hanzo's reputation to stand in the ninja world. In addition to Hanzo, the strongest Rain Shinobi Village elite Jonin is placed in other ninja villages, maybe even a Jonin can't get along. Advertisement. So at this time, the effect of Conqueror's Haki's instant killing of minions is also extremely outstanding. However, Yi Lin was quite surprised that Nagato, Yahiko and Konan did not pass out directly. As expected of the trio organized by Akatsuki, Jiraiya's disciples still have a hand. But it was when Yi Lin sighed that Hanzo clearly felt the danger. Therefore, he also directly bit his finger, and after the seal was formed, he slapped the ground. Summoning technique Sanshoyu Ibushi. With a burst of smoke, a huge monster appeared under Hanzo. It was a black pepper fish covered with bulges. After seeing this Sansho fish, Yahiko and Nagato, who are the ninjas of the Land of Rain, also immediately froze. Nagato, rewind. Yahiko roared, and Nagato immediately retreated from the bottom of the valley. The surrounding Rain Shinobi who was originally in charge of intercepting them has all passed out, and of course they have also obtained the qualifications for free movement. Sansho Uebushi, the summoning beast of Hanzo. There is a poison on his body that can kill anyone instantly, only Hanzo with a poison sac implanted in his body can be killed directly without being poisoned. Once the battle begins, Hanzo will be surrounded by a poisonous area, except for himself, any creature will die in it instantly, even the rocks, ground, and even the air will be corroded. It is also with this terrifying physique and ninjutsu that Hanzo once killed an army of ninjas who attacked Rain Shinobi Village with thousands of people in the past, and became famous in one battle as a demigod. Poison jet. And as soon as Hanzo shouted in the mouth of the Sansho fish under his feet immediately spewed a mouthful of purple viscous venom at Kaido. Ninja Missman technique. At the same time, Hanzo's hand is also quickly knotted. So the moment the venom approached Kaido, it exploded into a huge purple poisonous mist. Swordsmanship flash. At the next moment, Hanzo's figure came to Kaido's side with an instant body technique, and the sickle in his hand was already cut out against Kaido. Quote. Looking at Hanzo's action, Danzo's eyes flashed with sharpness. He knew that this was Hanzo's ultimate move with all his strength. With the help of Wuman technique's poisonous mist blocking action, the opponent will inhale the poisonous mist and die as long as he takes one breath. And even if the opponent held his breath, Hanzo's tempered swordsmanship, flash, would definitely be enough to kill the opponent. In the face of this blow, even a cage-level powerhouse has almost no way to fight against it. As long as you fall into the poisonous fog, you will be in a desperate situation. But, poison. Facing the action of Hanzo, Kaido just sneered, it's ridiculous. He didn't care about the poisonous fog around him at all in his words, and his fierce eyes only looked at the incoming Hanzo. Then, Kaido held out his hand. A huge mace appeared in his hand. And above the dark iron rod, the dark arc is looming. Since you are courting death, then Laozi will fulfill you. Thunder. 8 trigrams. Chapter 50 Kill Hanzo. Huge oolong. New book for collection. From the perspective of the bystander Danzo, the most terrifying picture can be seen at this moment. Thunder 8 trigrams. With such a sound, Kaido's huge figure disappeared in place at a speed that did not correspond to the size of his body at all. After a while, his figure appeared beside Hanzo, and the iron rod in his hand was waving impressively. Then, boom, with a huge roar, as his iron rod moved, the entire valley began to vibrate violently. The walls of the valley began to crumble, and rocks fell along with countless unconscious Rain Shinobi. Huge smoke and dust rose along the sliding mountain wall, and a huge rift appeared in the entire valley in a moment. At the same time, the whole body of Sansho Yufu, who was at Hanzo's feet, exploded in the next moment, and the highly poisonous blood splattered like raindrops. Then, Hanzo's body also fell heavily into the ruins of the valley. Or to be more precise, his corpse, because from his sunken chest, it was clearly too dead to die. Quote. Even though Danzo has enough to be called a heart of iron, there is a hint of coolness in his heart at this time. Just one hit. With just one blow, the monster named Kaido directly killed Hanzo of the Salamander, who became a demigod of the ninja world. With just one blow, the entire valley was torn apart by a huge rift. This is the strength of the Grand Line Four Emperors. So Danzo also understood that all the previous speculations in the village were still too conservative. Even the resurrection of Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas, might not be a sure win for such a powerful monster. And thinking that there may be 3 such guys in the Grand Line, and after they seem to have many subordinates under their command, Danzo feels that it is a little difficult to even breathe. Hanzo of the Salamander, at its peak, was an S+ at best. At the same time, Yi Lin, who killed Hanzo in 1 second, was not surprised at all. Hanzo of the Salamander is said to be a demigod of the ninja world, which sounds quite powerful. But in the end, that's just a title given by people later on. Compared to Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, the real gods of ninjas, Hanzo of the Salamander is just an ordinary person. Those two are real gangsters, monsters who can flatten a mountain at every turn in a fight. Especially after the real fight this time, Yi Lin can basically be sure that when Hanzo of the Salamander is at its peak, it is the top of the cage level, with the most S+ strength. Compared to Madara and Hashirama, he has an inherently insurmountable class gap. Just as Madara in Impure World Reincarnation can fight against the 5 shadows with one person and win easily, the gap between SS rank and S rank is a huge gap that is almost insurmountable. Of course, 8 inner gates or Naruto Sasuke's pervert wall mounts don't count. Not to mention that Hanzo itself has already passed its peak, and the strongest poisonous mist attack is completely ineffective against Kaido, the perfect creature. Under such circumstances, it was natural for him to be instantly killed by Kaido. But after killing Hanzo, Yi Lin didn't touch Hanzo's body for the first time. Although the corpse of an S-rank powerhouse is attractive enough, there is no doubt. Rinnegan is the purpose of his operation. At the same time, Nagato, who was secretly rescuing Konan with Yahiko while they were fighting, also immediately noticed that Kaido was looking at him. Yahiko, run with Konan. Then he also gritted his teeth and injected all his chakra into his eyes. His Rinnegan, which he also heard from teacher Jiraiya, is the eyes of a fairy. Advertisement. But since he was born, he has never really used these eyes with all his strength. The reason is also very simple, because once he uses the power of his eyes, it will be accompanied by great pain. Every time he used it, he felt as if his life and chakra were absorbed by the eyes, as if the eyes were not his own. He has no doubt that if he keeps using these eyes, he will be completely drained by them sooner or later. So all along, Nagato almost never actually uses the power of those eyes unless it's emotionally out of control. But now, he knew he had no choice. The opponent is a monster who can kill Hanzo of the Salamander in a single blow. As long as he hesitates even a little bit, they will all die. As a result, the chakra in his body was sucked dry by Rinnegan almost instantly, and then he felt that his life was gradually being sucked into his eyes. The great pain caused him to let out a wild howl involuntarily. Nagato and Yahiko wanted to step forward when he saw Nagato's painful expression. But in the next moment, boom, with Nagato's wild roar, the ground behind him suddenly swelled. Roar. Then, a giant 9-eyed giant like dead wood stood up roaring from the ground. Even Kaido's huge body, which is almost 6 or 7 people's height, looks quite small in front of this monster. Gedo statue. After seeing the familiar 9-eyed giant, Yi Lin, who was manipulating the Kaido puppet, was instantly vigilant. Gedo statue is actually the 10 tails body from which chakra was drawn. And it's not the same as what he saw in Madara before. When he met Madara, Madara had lost Rinnegan, and only maintained the most basic vitality link with Gedo statue, unable to exert Gedo statue's true power at all. But Nagato is different. With Rinnegan, he can control golems to fight. And 10 tails is an absolute SSS level existence. Even if it just loses Chakra's body, it definitely has terrifying power. Sure enough, the next moment Nagato endured the pain that almost made him collapse, and manipulated Gedo statue to punch Kaido. Facing the incoming Gedo statue, Kaido raised his head directly. His body shape began to change drastically, and after a while, he retransformed into the huge blue dragon before. He stretched out his dragon claws and collided directly with Gedo statue's fist. Boom! The collision of the forces of the two behemoths led to devastating consequences. The valley, which had been opened up by Kaido's blow before, was swept away by a huge force in an instant. The cracks on the ground spread almost uncontrollably toward the extreme. Monster! Monster! Looking at this scene, Danzo didn't dare to stay here at all. He even suspected that if he continued to observe secretly here, then the aftermath of the fight between these two monsters would kill him directly. Advertisement. But it was when Danzo left that he didn't notice that there was a shadowy figure behind him. 4 emperors, even Gedo statue. Almost half of the body emerged from the tree, watching the constant collision of the two behemoths in the distance, and the voice was almost gnashing of teeth. He couldn't figure out why so many strange guys suddenly popped up in the ninja world recently. First, The duo of the 7 warlords of the sea killed Madara, which led to the forced opening of the plan in advance, and then the 5 elders, the spirit kings, were known, causing the entire ninja world to be in panic. And now, there's a guy who can go head to head with Geto statue, and he's still a dragon. Mother, how many insiders of the ninja world did you not tell me in the past? Absolutely whispered. He is really frustrated now. The appearance of Kaido made him feel really tricky. In any case, Rinnegan cannot be taken away. In that case, can I only use the thing that my mother left for me? But when he was struggling to decide whether to use the last trump card left to him by Otsutsugi Kagaya in the past, the changes on the battlefield of the 2 behemoths in the distance made him suddenly stunned. Go back to 3 minutes ago. I saw that on the battlefield at this time, Kaido's huge dragon body almost wrapped around Geto statue, the sharp dragon claws were constantly waving at Geto statue's body, and thunder and flames spewed out of his mouth. But even such a violent attack is enough to destroy a mountain at any one time, but it still can't cause the slightest damage to Geto statue. As expected of Ten Tails' body, it's really strong. At the same time, Yi Lin was scolding secretly. However, the scolding is scolding, but Yi Lin is basically certain at this time, even if he can't break Geto statue's defense, he has already won. The reason is very simple. At this time, as the battle between the two sides continued, Nagato's whole person has obviously become more and more thin and haggard. Its entire complexion was terrifyingly white, almost like a skeleton, drained of chakra and vitality by Rinnegan. And although with the powerful vitality of the Uzumaki clan, he will not die, but he has no way to continue fighting. Yahiko, Conan, run away. With such words falling, he also fell directly to the ground, completely unconscious. 1. Seeing this scene, Yi Lin naturally knew that he had won. Because Geto statue is actually a creation of Nagato summoning. Now that Nagato chakra is exhausted and completely unconscious, then the Geto statue that was summoned out should also disappear and go back to where it should go. FK. Thinking of this, Yi Lin suddenly groaned. He found that he seemed to have made a huge oolong. But obviously, he found out a little too late. Pong. I saw that with the rise of a huge white smoke, the huge Geto statue also disappeared in place with the lifting of the summoning technique. But oddly, it wasn't just Geto statue that disappeared. Yes, with Kaido wrapped around Geto statue, the 2 behemoths disappeared without a trace. Asterisk.